Hello, can everyone hear me? Wow, I keep messing up everything. There we go. Hello, everybody. Can people hear me? Right, I heard it was quiet. I will adjust the audio. Hang on. I have a nifty little side tool on my super cool computer. Wah. Is that better? Hello. I'm gonna, yeah. I, yay. I'll take it. I don't know super much about technology. I'm just kind of vibing at the moment. I'm gonna check my OBS quickly. As we know, all good streams start with technical difficulties. Excuse me. Wait, no. I need to wait. Oh yeah, it's output. Wow. 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 Oh, there's my mic. I was so confused. I was like, where's my mic for a second? So, yeah. I'm playing with the thing. I could be really, really loud and peak the whole time. 5.5? Okay. Uh, oh, yeah. Yeah. Hiya. Hiya. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. Woo! So, after some short audio things happening, I am. I don't know. If I scared you, I'm sorry. You got to play around with the sound for a little bit, or else it's not a good stream. That's just vibes, bro. Yeah. Also, I'm gonna say hi to my chatters quickly. For currently, we have 5 people in the stream. Cool. That's so many people. And we have we have NJ Story Spinner, aka my roommate Natalie, and then we have Alex Coons. I think I said your name right. I could be very wrong. I'm sorry. He's from my live streaming class. So woohoo! That's awesome. Oh, we don't have loud audio anymore. Hold up. I can I can fiddle with that again. Like I said, all good streams start with audio problems. Wee. Wah. Wah. I just sound like Mario dying. Wah. Ooh. Guys, we take ourselves seriously on this stream for surezies. Yeah. Woohoo! We're good here. I think that's good for the audio. Hello. Proper introduction besides all of the fun funky audio is that we are going to be doing a tier list. Whoa! I know, right? We're doing another tier list. It's like my whole channel of the 2 videos I've made so far are just tier lists, which I think is really funny. Because, I don't know, tier lists are fun. Awesome. I'll keep that in mind, Alex. Yeah. So we're doing a tier list, and our tier list is every single episode of the Monkees that aired. Okay, so some people might be confused. They're like, who are the Monkees? Which is a valid question. I feel like most people don't know who they are, which is kind of sad, but we really need to, like, you know, we need to have them be awesome and cool. So, no, it's not the My Chemical Romance show, Alex. This is the Monkees. This is a band from the 60s who were made for TV at first. So that's why they have so many, that's why they have a show in the first place. They were originally made for TV, but then they branched out into a real band. And, you know, I have a fun little obsession with this show. I think it's a fun time. I think it's a it's the show of all time. And I think look, I'm gonna be real. Sometimes when I get home from class, my brain has been thinking really, really hard about literary analysis and everything else, like doing hard work. Sometimes I just want to sit back and watch really, really dumb things happen with no plot. Well, there is plot. It's very loose plot, but and I just want to just watch a fun thing. Yeah. So it is about time. I probably should talk about the tears. Yeah. Hello. So we got F tier. F tier is you must be joking because you really must be joking with this episode because it wasn't good and it didn't hold up today. That's kind of a thing I'm going off of. It's like part of it, I have a bunch of notes here actually because I am a little silly Billy and I'm like, hey, what if I wrote notes on every single episode? That so when I talk about them, I don't sound like an idiot, you know. So I have my handy dandy purple notebook. And I wrote notes on everything. But going back to it, F tier is you must be joking because this episode was a joke and it wasn't good and it probably doesn't hold up. That's kind of what the whole thing is. I see all kinds of sorrow, which means like, yeah, it wasn't the best episode of all time, but it's not you must be joking tier. So this is actually a lyric from one of their songs. It's look out, here comes tomorrow. Bro really says, I see all kinds of sorrow. And I'm like, me too, buddy. Me too. Hey, hey, it's okay is middle of the road. Like, because I'm like, it's not a horrible episode, but it's not like a great episode either. Like, it's not super memorable, I guess, is kind of what it is. But I'm like, there was nothing outright wrong with it, you know? And it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, I'd watch it, but not. It's not my first choice, I guess. Gasharuni is my A tier because first off, I say Gasharuni a lot about everything, and I think it's a good A tier to have because I'm like, wow, gosh, Rooney, that was a good episode, man. And then yeah, these are the episodes I pick. Like this is where I'm gonna start like actively like picking episodes. Is these two tiers? Is like I would actively watch this episode, and like Gasharuni's like you know it has like a couple problems, but nothing too major to make me hate like what's going on here. And woot woot woot, we have Gasharuni, and then we have I couldn't leave her even if I tried, which is a lyric from I'm a Believer, which people know that song. I swear people know that song. Like it's it was covered by Smash Mouth in Shrek, so a bunch of people know it from Shrek. But actually the Monkees made it first. And it was written by Neil Diamond. That's a fun fact for you guys. I'm a Believer was written by Neil Diamond, who went on to write Sweet Caroline. And I think that's cool. He wrote a couple Monkees songs actually. I might point them out when we get there. But yeah. So Yeah, we got from F tier, and then we got C tier, B tier, A tier, S tier. Everyone good with that? Everyone understands? I at least I hope. I don't think it's that confusing. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, handy dandy notebook. I have 12 pages of notes because I like the show a little bit, okay? I want to make sure I know what I'm talking about is mainly what this whole thing is. So, as you can so if I'm looking down at anything, I just have pages upon pages of notes for each episode so I remember what happens or at least like I can jog my memory of what happens cuz I've seen every episode, but some episodes are harder to remember than others. Also, Sprite Gang, what is up? Check it. If you don't have a beverage with you, you could probably get some because we're going to be here a bit. I have a lot to say. So, I know that I will be drinking my handy dandy Sprite while I, go through this show from the 60s. It's called The Monkees, and it's peak. And it's like, yo, Natalie's Cheetos. That's something. That's a little snacky snack. I like it. Epic. So, do 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 do. Alrighty, we're gonna start from season one, episode one. There's 58 episodes in total, but around like here is where season two splits off. So that's good. Oh my gosh, Rachel's here in the chat and she has water. Let's go. Stay hydrated. I'm probably going to drink water after the stream. I will be so for real. Yo, yo, Alex's French fries? That sounds good, honestly. French fries are pretty good. I don't know. I haven't thought of what my dinner plans are yet, so I don't know. Maybe. Maybe I'll add some french fries tonight. I don't know. Anyway, to the handy dandy notebook of all my fun little monkey facts that I have written down. So, the first episode is Royal Flush. I've written down all the descriptions of each like episode, so I'm gonna read them out as well, so everyone is on the same page. Davy falls for Princess Bettina, the Duchess of Harmonica. The monkeys discover that her Uncle Otto is trying to kill her. Ruh-roh. Yeah, this is the very first episode aired. It's not the first episode. I don't believe it's the first episode recorded. That is the pilot. The pilot's all the way over here, actually. We'll get to it soon. But this is the first episode that airs. So this is an impression piece. Like you have to like this is where you're gonna sell the audience. Be all like, hey, this show from the 60s is going to be really, really fun and really, really cool, and you should watch it. And this is the first episode. I feel like it has a lot of establishing features. Davy falls in love with a woman, as he does. It's one of his many defined character traits, where he just says, yeah, this woman is really attractive. But this time, I think actually kind of makes sense because he did save her life. She was about to drown, so he kind of just went in there all heroically and saved her life. So I guess that one kind of makes a little sense. Like, some of them don't make sense at all, but like, there's others that definitely makes more sense than others. And this is one of them that kind of makes sense. So I think the main like inciting incident of this episode is like she takes his jacket and he's really upset about the set. Like he's like, they got my jacket. Also, Davey's British. I don't know if I mentioned I don't know how many of these people you guys know about the Monkees, but they're all very different people by how like say Davey is British, Mike is Texan, Mickey's from LA and Peter is from Greenwich Village. So they're like they all have very different personalities. Where I'm like, Mike is the leader and probably has the brain cell most of the time. Davey is the certified lover boy. Um, Mickey is the funny comedic relief, but also kind of insane as well, you know. And Peter is the dumb one but has a heart of gold, type of thing. So they all have their own little personalities, which show off in each of the episodes once we get through. And yeah, so this one, is basically like Davy falls in love with a woman, a princess, mind you, and her uncle Otto is trying to kill her before her 18th birthday because then he can rule the kingdom, not harmonica. Yeah. So I don't know why I like this episode. Like, I think it's a fun start to the show. It gets crazy right off the bat. It's all like, hey, you know this princess that you just saved from drowning? Yeah, her uncle's gonna kill her, and she has your jacket, so you gotta go save her. Type of ordeal. It's crazy to think about, like all these little they establish bits like right away in the show. I can't like name all of them off the top of my head because that'd be crazy. But they establish a lot of bits. My favorite bit of the episode is the half a hole bit. Now, I know my roommate Natalie's very familiar with the half a hole bit because we reference it all the time. Where in the song, this just doesn't seem to be my day because that's the first song that airs in the episode. They're on the beach and the mean guard is chasing Mickey around. So what Peter and Mike decide to do is that they decide to make a hole for the guy to dig in. But as the song progresses, they make more progress on the hole. I think the first part is caution starting hole, and then it's warning half a hole, and then it's caution hole, and then he falls in the hole. I don't know why. Half a hole is really funny because you're just like, what does that even mean? Like, you know, it's a pretty good bit. I really want signs of that just to hang. There's also a lot of good signs in the Monkees' house, which if I had like a graphic of the house, I'd point out some of them, but I don't. But it's the only one I remember is money is the root of all evil, which I think that's a pretty valid sign to have in your house. Oh, the other one when the fire extinguisher in case of fire run. It's right by the fire extinguisher. Yeah. That's just a couple of the fun facts about the Monkeys pad. And yeah, Royal Flush is a very interesting episode. I think it kind of ends kind of sad. Like, not sad, I wouldn't say, but more like it kind of deflates, you know, where it basically. Like Davy has to sword fight this man, right? You think that'd be a really intense, cool moment. The sword fighting's okay. I wouldn't say it's fantastic. I He was really trying to replicate Earl Flynn, and I think they mentioned that in the episode where he's trying to be like Earl Flynn, where he has to fight these bad guys with swords. And if you don't know what Earl Flynn is, I think he was an actor from like the 50s who did a lot of like swashbuckling movies. I think that makes sense. I know he was an inspiration for Flynn Rider, or at least somewhat of an inspiration. So that was fun to read about. um, yeah, but Royal Flush. Going back to the episode, I think I would rank this one probably in Hey Hey It's Okay. Mainly because of the ending. Because I think if the ending was stronger, I probably would go back to it more. But it isn't super strong. They do have the 1 minute short segments, which sometimes they don't realize how much time they have in a TV show episode, so they run out of time. And they're like, okay, we're a minute short, let's just have them yap. I like these segments because it's just them yapping, and it's really nice to have. Oh, thank you, Alex. Earl Flynn played Robin Hood. I thought it was like, yeah, something similar to that. I was like, he was like some kind of like action hero of the 50s. That makes sense. Yeah. Woo! So Royal Flush is in Hey Hey It's Okay. Now we have Monkey See Monkey Die. That's a kind of a ominous episode title. According to what the description of the episode, the monkeys get a piano from a will, but they have to stay in the night in a haunted mansion. Yeah. So basically, apparently the monkeys did something to this man. So when he died, he put them in the will. Is basically what happens. And So the monkeys go to like like the reading, the will reading. I don't entirely know what it's called, but it's like the reading of the will. I think that's what it's called. Um, you go and you read off like, hey, who gets this type of thing. Well, part of well, the monkeys get the piano because musicians. Then and then there's there's this episode, not episode. There's this the girl, like the granddaughter of this dead guy. Her name is like Ellie. I think her name's Ellie, where she gets to inherit the entire mansion. And you know, obviously people don't want that because she is a young teenage girl, and she's like 18. Ew, she can't own a house by herself. That's not okay. Also, she doesn't deserve to be this rich and famous type of thing. So people in the house besides the monkeys are trying to actively kill her to be all like, hey, or like spook her. I think they just spook her out, but some of the things are like actively trying to kill her. um Fun fact about this episode, all the monkeys share a bed in this episode, which I think is really funny. Like, I don't know if on set they couldn't find four separate beds, but they found one really big bed. So they just made them all sit in there. They're like, hey, pretend you're all just sharing a bed for the night. Yeah, it is kind of a Scooby Doo episode. I agree, Alex. And then Rachel says, there's so much danger of death for the silly haha show. That is so true. There's like a bunch of episodes where I'm scared they're going to like actively die. I have some of them noted in here, but it's just like some of them are just gonna actively die. And I'm like, oh no, I don't like that. Yes. So the monkeys obviously be all like, hey, we aren't going to have this girl be scared by herself in a mansion. Also, their fairy didn't come back to the island, so they're kind of stuck there anyway. And they basically have to spend the night in this mansion. And it's very much like, hey, we have to stay in this house. And we do. And shenanigans ensued. This is where the Scooby Doo S comes into it. Yeah. Oh yeah, Alex, this episode is before Scooby Doo. And yeah, apparently yeah, the Scooby Doo was kind of based off this episode, like partly. I don't think it was fully based off this episode, but I'm sure this was a big inspiration. And yes, it's okay if you've only seen one episode of the Monkees. That is okay. Sometimes one episode is enough for people. Other times you need to see it all unfold. But yeah, monkey see monkey die. They don't actually die. Title lies. Dang. um, so I'm gonna probably put it back in Hey Hey It's Okay, right next to Royal Flush because I'm like, yeah, it's okay. I think it's cool that it was inspired. I think it's cool it inspired Scooby Doo a little bit. That's pretty cool. That's a fun fact I didn't know actually. And yeah, also they share one bed. You can kind of see it in the, the image that was beautifully chosen. I did not make this tier list. I probably should say. Someone else made this tier list. Uh, I don't know if there's a way it says. Oh, Old Soul Man apparently made this tier list. Shout out Old Soul Man. So that's fun. But yeah, woo. There's that. Monkeys versus the Machine. This episode, Peter fails a job interview at a toy factory, and the monkeys help an old toy maker sell his toy. This episode predicted AI. Hear me out. So, okay, so in the job interview, Peter he isn't interviewed like by a person. He's interviewed by a computer. And this is the 60s, right? So it's not like the computers we know today. It's a big bulky machine that's like the size of this room and it spits answers out at you because you like program them in. But like someone obviously had to program this machine to be all like, "Hey, don't hire this man. type of thing. But I think it's more of like there's very much faults in the system because Peter goes through and he's like, he doesn't understand the questions at first. I think he's just more taken aback that a computer's interviewing him rather than a person. And so it's very much just like, wow. And it's so he fails the job interview because a computer was like in charge of his answers, and his answers were like very much like not like connecting correctly. They ended up calling him like a nitwit for a little, like that was what he thought his name was like Mrs. Nitwit, which first off, Peter was like, that's not me at all. And he's just like, well, and then the computer decides Peter is not fit for this job, which oh, poor Peter. And it's just like, oh, yeah, so Mike goes in. He basically seduces the computer. I can't explain it. That's kind of what he does. He flusters it so much that it breaks. And he goes in, gets the job, and then they find out like an old toy maker is trying to sell his like crafted toy. But the mean CEO guy was like, ew, no, we need high tech new toys that speak to the children. So the monkeys, in drag, of course, they go in and they like sabotage like the testing phase of the toys. They're all like in various forms of drag because there's various rounds, so they can't be in the same drag. They have to be in different forms of drag. Otherwise, no one will understand that, like, no one will understand that they can't see. A fun fact about this show also, they're in costumes a lot and no one can really recognize them. It's kind of astonishing when a person does recognize them in costume. That's like a fun fact that not a lot of people can do. So I'm like, you can break through the void if you can recognize the monkeys in costume. But yeah, the guy basically invents a boomerang, but they call it a monkey rang, like because the monkeys. And like I think by this time a boomerang was already invented, so I think that's also partially why they had to be like, hey, we can't like we just can't, we can't just say boomerang. It's a monkey rang. I like this episode. I think it talks I think it's very relevant to I think it's very relevant to this entirely world that we're in. You know? Oh my gosh, Alex asked a question. Mash, is there a reason he needs a job if he's in a successful band? Fun fact about that, it is a running joke in the Monkees that they are flat broke at all times. They never have money. They're not successful in the show. They are just a band in the show. They're pretty successful outside of the show because, real people, real marketing, managers, stuff like that. But in but in the show, they're just like a freelance band. It's like saying like it's like if like four like people got together and made a band like right now. It's one of those types of bands where it's like, yeah, we just kind of made the band and we're trying to get big. That's kind of what the Monkees are in this show. They always casually never have money, which I think is really funny because they live in a beach house in Malibu and they are always late on rent. So I don't know how they keep staying there. So that's fun. Yeah, but Monkeys versus the Machine. It predicted AI. That's fun. I guess. It's funny to laugh at now, I guess. This is the first episode with Last Train to Clarksville. I don't know if people have heard of that song, but it's good. It's an anti-war song. It was their first number one hit, which I think is funny that their first number one hit was an anti-war song. And so I don't know. I like Clarksville a lot. They use it a lot in these first couple episodes. But yeah, Monkeys versus the Machine. I think is gonna go in. I keep doing this. It's gonna go in Gosh Rooney. I probably would watch this episode. It's a fun time. I think there's a lot of fun moments in it. It's always funny to see like the guys struggle to earn money. They're really bad at it, actually. I don't understand how they can afford rent in the first place. But yeah. On to the next episode. We got your friendly neighborhood kidnappers. Woo! A rival manager, Nick Trump, tries to keep the monkeys from participating in a musical contest. The funniest part about this episode is that they're actively planning their kidnapping and they're excited to be kidnapped. And then they're like, oh, rats, we're actually getting kidnapped. That's not okay. you know? It's just like, dang it, don't you hate when you're pretending to fake get kidnapped and then you actually get kidnapped? Hate when that happens, you know. You know, it's a common thing that happens it happens a lot, bro. Oh my gosh, Rachel's so right. Don't forget the dress code for being kidnapped is black tie. That's so true. They asked if it was black tie or white tie, and they were like black tie, and I'm like, cool. I guess there's things to go off of now, I guess. This one's also kind of fun. Davy forgets that he's getting kidnapped, and he just goes out to a club, and then he brings the club back with him when they find him. Be like, hey, don't you remember you're getting kidnapped? And basically, yeah, he comes back and is like, wowza. Uh, so he brings the whole club back with him, which I think is kind of funny, where he's just like, dog, for realsies. Oh my gosh, Matt is in the chat. Let's go. Let's go, Matt. Yeah. Everyone say hi to Matt in the chat. He's awesome. Matt in the chat. Anyways, going back to it, this episode is very dumb. Also, the irony of the bad guy's last name being named Trump. They don't say Nick Trump. They don't say Nick. They only say Trump. So, in this, I don't want to get political, but in this day of age, that's kind of funny. Where it's just like, wow, you know. Yeah, Friendly Neighborhood Kidnappers. I think it's an okay episode. Like, I do like it, but there's definitely stronger episodes. you know, there are so many stronger episodes in comparison to this episode, but I don't think it's in ICO Kinds of Sorrow tier because I do like it. I probably would put it on. Mainly for the title alone. That's also how I get people where I'm like, guys, I get kidnapped this episode. You want to see how? type of thing. Yeah. Woo, we are moving on to the second page of notes. Yeah. Excuse me. In case you haven't, in case you're joining us late, prepare. If you don't have a drinky drink or food, you should probably get one. It's gonna be a bit. We're 4 episodes in out of 58, so it's gonna be a second. So the next episode is the spy who came in from the cool. Oh, so Davy accidentally buys maracas containing spyware. So the CIS, Central Intelligence Service, recruits the Monkees to stop foreign spies. So I mentioned this episode in my class. Why? Because we were talking about spies during the Cold War. And during this time, you know, the Cold War is happening. Well, hang on. When is the Cold War? I'm going to quickly do a detour. I'm going to type in the Cold War. I don't remember how long the Cold War lasted for. It ended in the 90s, apparently. Okay, so we were in the middle of the Cold War. So, like, like in the Cold War, a lot of people, a lot of Americans specifically, hated, like, Russians for, obvious reasons. And so a lot of media depicted spies of, being anti-Russia, and all the evil spies were Russian spies. Yeah. So the monkeys is no exception, even though that this they don't strictly state they're Russian spies, but they have Russian accents, and one of the guys' names is Boris, and they talk about being from the eastern part of the planet. So they're definitely not saying, hey, we are spies. But they're definitely not being a like, we're not Russian spies, except maybe we are. Anyway, Davy's an idiot and he wants new maracas, right? And but these little maracas happen to have microfilm with the world's secret like government plans in them. So if Russia or whoever the two spies were working for gets a hold of that, they're all like, Arnar, we can destroy America. That's not good. And take over the world. That's also not good. But yeah. So the whole thing was like, hey, we have a tiny informant coming in who was asking for the red maracas. Guess who's tiny and wants red maracas? That's right. It's Davy. So he gets the red maracas with the spyware in it. And so now they're not in espionage. Oh no. Don't you hate when that happens? I'm gonna be saying that a lot this stream, I can feel it. Also, I just noticed that Nat has pizza rolls and vodka. Have fun with that. I hope it's good. Good. Yeah. Um, it's one of those things where it's just like, how did we get here? You know, it's some of these episodes I do wonder how did we get here because there's so many things that happen and I'm just like so people had to write this episode. A couple people wrote these episodes. People had to look over these episodes. You know, there's other more stronger examples as we get through, especially in season 2. Season 2 has a lot of wild episodes. And yeah, the spy who came in from the cool. The monkeys are horrible spies. They're trying to get like the confession that, hey, yeah, we're Russian spies, but they're really bad at it. So it's just like, uh, you know, it's like 5 minutes of them attempting to get, it's just 5 minutes of them attempting to get like this spyware and commit that they're spies. And then it's just like rats, I guess. And then they get into a song fight. I think the song fight's to Stepping Stone, yeah. Or Clarksville. It's one of the two. And but one of my favorite songs, the kind of girl I could love, is in this episode, which is a Mike song where he talks about how much he likes a girl. Yeah, so that's awesome. And yeah, Matt, I do kind of agree with that, where it's like, this probably did make a lot more sense during the time, where it's just so like, because we don't actively live in the Cold War at the moment. So it's like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, honestly. The spy episode is fine. I don't think it's horrible. Uh, but I'm like, yeah, it's gonna go in hey, hey, it's okay. Where yeah. So far, you can see the trend of here, where it's like a lot of these episodes are just kind of okay at the beginning. Well, it's the first like written episodes of the show, so they're like trying to get their footing of what a good episode of the Monkees looks like. You know, like they don't honestly know at the moment of what the good things are. That changes with Success Story. They actually kind of wrote a decent episode, like for realsies. I'm honestly kind of impressed. When Davy's grandfather comes to visit, the monkeys try to set him up to be successful. Because he told his grandfather, hey, I live in America and I'm successful. That's why I'm here. That's the whole reason he's here in America, where he is successful because, like, that's the only reason he came to America. He's like, I'm gonna be successful. I'm gonna be a musician, and it's gonna be okay. So his grandfather telegrams him, be all like, "Hey, I'm coming to visit you," and he's like, "Oh no, that's nope." So you know, the other monkeys being real, they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna help him. We're gonna help this guy out. We're gonna." We're gonna pretend he's successful. And this goes just as well as you think it does. Goes as well as Sprite. Yeah. What I mean by this is a good episode is that it's not a horror. What I'm saying, what I mean by this is a good episode, it's more of just like a. This episode is a very simple plot, but it's executed so well. Like, they wrote it really, really strongly, and I like that. I think it's awesome to see like family members from the Monkees come in because we don't see them very often. So when we do, we're like, yippee yahoo! They have family connections. And this guy obviously isn't his actual grandfather. This is an actor, but like still in the in like the oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought for a second. It's in the show it's cool to see, and then it's like it actually builds up emotion where it's like Davy they didn't succeed, so Davy's forced to go back to England, and it's kind of a sad moment. This is the closest I came to crying, and I'm pretty sure I did cry over it because in case you're not aware, there's only three of the four Monkees are dead. The only one living is Mickey. Mickey is, he's alive, he's touring, but he's 80, so he's kind of old. But, and Davy was actually the first one to go. So he's saying goodbye to all the Monkees, and it makes me sad. Like, I'm just like, no, because I'm from the future. I know what happens, and it's just like, oh. And then I cry, and then it's fantastic, and I'm sad. Thankfully, the Monkees don't take this down sitting. They go to the airport and do airport shenanigans before 9/11, so they could get away with most of these things. Cause like it was really weird to see like an airport before 2001, especially like just all these casual airplane shenanigans, and you know, it's like oh my gosh, they can't get away with this nowadays. Like in a way, like there's just like because like they're impersonating like airplane like people in the airport. So it's like they can't do this nowadays. At least not their plan would not work whatsoever. No, no. Davy is like, hey, grandfather, I do want to stay in America. And he's like, okay. He eventually is like, your friends caring a lot about you. I think you're in decent hands. I will leave you here. And it's like, yay, the Monkees didn't break up 6 episodes in. Yeah. I feel like since this episode has good writing and it's emotion, it actually made me feel emotion, so that was pretty good. And like and all the it also had the classic monkey shenanigans. I think it's going in. I couldn't leave her if I tried. S tier, bro. Let's first S tier. Round of applause for the first S tier of the stream. Yay! Good job, buddy. You did it. And all you had to do is make me cry. Yeah. The next episode is Monkeys in a Ghost Town. The Monkey Mobile runs out of gas, and the monkeys are stranded in a ghost town. They also deal with gang activity. Yeah, so this episode's pretty fun. I like it. First off, we're stranded in the middle of a ghost town. They ran out of gas, darn. So they're stuck there, and excuse me, I had like some some burp. Yeah, so it's a very fun time where it's like, hey, you know, it's like we're in a ghost town, and that's cool and all. That's for sure. Mm. In in this episode, we all the main two thugs that they deal with, besides like the big man, which is actually a woman. That's a fun fact. Is George and Lenny. So this whole episode is a Mice and Men reference. Like, which I'm like, I think that makes sense because I think I read somewhere that I think I saw like the Mice and Men movie at the time was like around when they filmed this, or like at least or before they filmed it. So they were just like, yeah, of Mice and Men, we have George and Lenny, and then I think one of the guys in the movie actually plays one of the characters, like one of the thugs. So that's even more. So there's just a lot of little mice and men references in this episode. And I feel like if you haven't read the book, it's a little confusing. I haven't read Mice and Men, but I know like some of the bigger things that happen in like the book. So I was at an understanding where like I'm like, oh, this is a reference type of thing. Like, and then like once they did more like things I didn't really understand, I was like, oh, that might just be a reference I'm not catching. But I think that's cool. They just have a Mike and Mike and not Mike, mice and men reference. Yeah, it is kind of weird. I don't honestly know why. Sometimes they just do that. I don't know. Maybe it was a '60s TV thing. Like maybe the writers just really liked mice and men. I don't know, but it was still fun. We got a shootout at the end. That was fun. They actively gave monkeys guns. They were obviously not real guns, but like, I just think it's funny to see them holding guns. That makes me laugh every time. Like, I think in the pictures, them under the bar trying to shoot, they're trying to shoot people. And it's like, uh, yeah, they're actively missing if that makes, they're really bad at shooting. But the thugs are also really bad at shooting, or else they'd be dead. So, but that's fun. We also got a ragtime version of the Monkees theme in this episode. That was pretty fun. I'm going to put Monkeys in a Ghost Town and Gasharoonie. Gasharoonie. I'd actively watch this episode. It's a fun time. We also get Mickey's impression of James Cagney in this episode, where, if you don't know who James Cagney is, I think he's a gangster actor from the 50s. And Mickey talks about him a lot and does his impression a lot. That's the only reason I know who he is. Yeah. Next episode. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Davy is told to watch a kid's horse. The monkeys tried to earn enough money to have the kid take his horse back. Yeah, so fun fact about Mr. Jones here. Before he became a member of the Monkees, he was studying to be a jockey. So, a lot of the times in these episodes, when there's a horse involved, Davy's involved. So, they literally kind of wrote this episode around, like, hey, he used to be a jockey, so let's have him hang out with a horse, basically. Yeah. Also, I think the Mr. Ed show was also around the same time. The marvelous Mr. Ed. He's a talking horse, I believe. I don't know. 50s TV was interesting. And it was just like, so we have Davy with this horse. He really just is like doing backflips on the beach. I kid you not. That's how the episode opens. He's like doing flips on the beach, and this kid comes up to him and he's like, hey, mister, watch my horse. And he's like, okay. And then the kid just leaves and he's like, wait a second, when are you coming back for your horse? And now he just has a horse. Also, during this episode, their landlord, Mr. Babbitt, is trying actively to catch them with a pet. So when Davy brings his horse up, mind you, they live on a hill, so they had to get the horse up the hill, like in universe. It was just like, they're the shenanigans with that. And then they go to the other half where they're at a farm and they're just like, yep, we are doing farm shenanigans for the rest of the episode. And then another guy comes in and is like, hey, that's a nice horse. I'll give you $100. Or it's like, I don't know. It's like, hey, that's a nice thing you have. I'm going to challenge you to a race. And since David was a jockey, obviously, he said, like, yeah, but that's not in canon. He's just good with horses and shit. In the show, I think he's just good with horses. So, and then he just goes, like, then he wins. And the little boy gets his horse back. And the monkeys don't have to sell their instruments, to, which is cool. Yeah. And then he almost gets a camel at the end. Yeah. The horse episode is, I think it's the first episode where I'm just all like, the concept is really funny. Where it's just all like, yo, he has a horse. That's the concept of this episode. There wasn't a lot of strong backbone on it. And just by the way I was explaining it, I don't think a lot of people. So I think I see all kinds of sorrow. It's not actively bad, but I'm just like, it was a little disjointed, a little more disjointed than usual. And it was just like, okay, cool. They really just said, hey, man knows how to handle a horse. Let's put a horse in this episode. And then let's write an episode around this said horse, basically. Yeah, so I see all kinds of sorrow. Mm. Then we have the chaperone. Oh, the chaperone. The only way for Davy to date the daughter of a military general is to have a chaperone party. You can kind of see a trend of these episodes where I'm like, oh my god, I keep mentioning this man. Yeah, they've been on like a string. Sometimes they go on a string of episodes where it's like, this episode is about this monkey. And sometimes just the way it's aired, it feels like all these episodes are about this one monkey, and the other monkeys are side characters in their adventures. That's not always the case, but like especially like there's like a string of episodes like right now where it's just all like, hey, this man right here, he's the main character. Did you know? Yeah. This episode is memorable for a couple of reasons. One, Mickey's in drag. So Mickey has to pretend to be the chaperone in question because the chaperone they hired she knocked herself out, so they have to scurry to find a chaperone. And Mickey just puts on a dress and a wig, and he's like, "Yep, I'm a woman now." There is a lot of episodes where they do drag. That's just one of the things that happen in this show. It's a lot more accepted in the '60s for humor of doing drag. So honestly, that kind of is just what happens, where it's like, yeah. So there's just casually a lot of episodes where they're in drag. Just casually. Yeah, I can't really explain it. Weird fun fact, when I was rewatching this episode, I found out Mr. Clean is canon in the Monkees. Yeah, the Mr. Clean. Like, magic eraser dude, that Mr. Clean, bald head, earring, skin tight shirt, probably pants. I think he has pants on. I don't know. I don't look too closely at Mr. Clean, but it's like Mr. Clean is just canon in the Monkees. This isn't the weirdest thing that gets canon, but it's one of them. That's for sure. I just think it's really funny that Mr. Clean is just canon in this universe. He's just here. He doesn't do anything with the plot. He just is here. And I think that's no, as a character, Alex. Like, not the brand Mr. Clean, like himself. Mr. Clean himself is at this party and he is vibing. Girls are hitting on him and everything. It's like, Mr. Clean is here. They invited Mr. Clean to their party. Why isn't he the chaperone when you think about it? I know that's not part of the thing, but I'm like, he could have easily been the chaperone and people have been like, yeah, that checks. you know. But yeah, Alex, that's what my thing is too. I'm just like, yeah, Mr. Clean's just in this episode. He is just here. He's here for the silly fun times. you know, he's here to vibe. Obviously, Mickey gets caught, but he was thinking about like marrying the general to go to Venice because he really wants to go to Venice. He was really thinking about it, and then he said, "Nah." so yeah, that kind of fails. But, it's one of those episodes where it's like, oh, yeah, dad, stop being so hard on daughter type of episodes. They're doing all these shenanigans, you know. It's one of those things. Yeah. I think it's all right. I think what keeps me going is that Mr. Clean's just in this episode, and it makes me laugh every time I think about it. So I think that's why it's out of. That's why it's not all. Because I don't think the episode is like super crazy. It's definitely not Gosh Rooney, but I think it's hey, it's okay. Where I'm like, yeah, because I'm like, yeah, Mickey's in drag. Mr. Clean is here. What else do you need? You know. Uh, this next one, we're flipping the next page. 3 out of 12, guys. Woo! New page alert. Um, The next one is Here Comes the Monkeys, which is actually the pilot episode. I don't know why they decided to air the pilot episode 10 episodes in. I'm not entirely sure about why, but you can definitely, it really throws off the vibe because so many things have changed from the pilot into where we are today. So it's like, I'm just sitting here and I'm like, why did we air the pilot so late into the show? I don't know. They must have, I wasn't, I wasn't there in the 60s. I don't know. After booking a gig for a Sweet 16 party, Davy falls for the birthday girl, Vanessa. She is going to fail her history if the Monkees don't do something. So, yeah, this episode is basically like I'm giving this one a little more slack on plot because it's the pilot, you know. They're testing a lot of things out. They're trying to make a show. Yeah. And oh, also the guy say hi to my mom in the chat. Hi mom, it's me. I'm happy you enjoyed my commentary on the chaperone. That yeah, put that on a t-shirt, bro. That is that. So everyone say hi to my mom. She's awesome. Hi mom. Yeah. So, woo. And like I said, this is the pilot, so there's like a lot of things going on. I think a lot of things are stable and happen. Like, oh yeah, something's right. But like the set is very different. They had a manager, which I'm like, that's weird to think about now, where it's like it's really weird to think about like now that they had an active manager in the pilot that was trying to book them just trying to book them gigs and it wasn't working. Obviously they cut the manager for like their freedom now. It makes it a little more relatable, I guess, if you don't have an active manager. Also, you can write more episodes where they're broke. You know. I think the fun part of this episode is actually at the end of the episode where Davy and Mike are aired screen they're they air their screen tests at the end of the episode, like making Peter introduce Mike and Davy's screen test, and they're in black and white. But I think it's like think that's what sold the show for people is just seeing them, you know, just interact with the guy off screen. I think it was like the producer. He interacted off screen with them and just seeing like their personalities come out. Yeah. Also, I'm loving all the theories that they fired the manager. I think that's awesome. You know, I don't. Yeah, they probably were too broke to pay him. Let's be real. Like, he was not getting any money from these little doofuses. But you know, and I'm just like, I also, the screen test has Davies "You Must Be Joking" come from it, which is kind of his running. It's his running bit throughout the show. Is like he sometimes when something just happens to him, he says "You must be joking," and I use it a lot actually. And basic and that came from the screen test, which I thought was really cool. So I'm like, yeah, that's a fun little fact you have for that. Woo! The pilot is like I feel like I have to judge the pilot differently than the rest of these episodes because even though it's technically an episode, it's a weird gray area. It's like it's technically an episode, but it was pilot, so it's not like up to par usually. I think it's just gonna go in okay. I keep hitting the wrong key. It's gonna go in okay. Yeah, we have a lot of okay episodes at the beginning. Like I said, they're gonna find their footing soon. I'm seeing the next couple episodes coming up, and I think they're gonna find their footing fairly soon. At least to me, they're going to. Some people might say like, "Oh, all these episodes are S tier," and I'm like, okay, you know. There's definitely some people who are just like they're all S tier. Yeah. The next episode is Monkeys a la carte. Hey, Pop's Italian restaurant is taken over by mobsters, so the Monkees go undercover as the Purple Flagger Gang. Yeah, the Monkees had an active job, and then it got taken over by mobsters. Dang, don't you hate when that happens? You know, this episode is kind of I wouldn't. It's not a good. I don't think it's a good episode. Like, it's very. It's active. It's not like actively bad. Like I said, for don't like a gift horse in the mouth. It's not active. There's definitely elements there. I like Mike and Davey playing tic tac toe in the corner, like during the mob shootout. They're just playing tic tac toe under a table. That's pretty good. Um, Peter drops a bunch of plates, but you can clearly see the wiring, so that's kind of fun. um, there's like a couple like moments, but there's definitely things where it's like, oh, this episode was not completed writing wise before they started filming it. There's a lot of like voiceovers, which they usually don't do voiceovers in the show, so I think that's why I pointed it out a lot because I'm like, they really just shoved Mickey into a booth, be like, hey, can you like make transition voiceovers so we don't sound insane and people make sense as it's going from point A to point B? And that's what he did. Yeah, so I think in concept it's a fun episode of the monkeys dealing with mobsters, but no, I don't like it that much. It's gonna go in I See All Kinds of Sorrow. And a stepping stone though, which is one of my favorite songs. Also, the intro of She, which is an underrated monkey song. I like that one as well. But yeah, on to I Got a Little Song Here. Mike writes a song and sells it to a scammer. That's the plot of the episode. Yeah, Mike is like he gives like $100 to the scammer who he's like, oh, it's gonna be in a movie with this actress, and like everyone's like, yay, good job, Mike, you sold your song and it's gonna be in a movie with an actress. But then he like goes to like the producing like place and the actress is like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? We are not singing this song. Yes. Also, my cousin is in the chat. Hi, Felicia. You've made it to the stream. I hope you're enjoying it. I don't, if you're just joining in, we're ranking every episode of the Monkees. So that's fun. So, yeah, it's very fun. Also, we're at 9 people in the chat. That's awesome. We love that there's 9 people in the chat. I hope y'all are having a good time, and I hope you guys have a drinky drink or a snacky snack heck with you, because I certainly do. Yeah. Okay, going back to the episode, the note that annoys me about this episode is that they made a song for him to write. It's "Come Gonna Buy Me a Dog." That song is meant to be a joke song. It's not meant to be a serious song whatsoever. Where basically the it's just Mickey and Davy, just like it's just Mickey and Davy, just like vibing in a studio, making jokes about dogs. That's very much like what is going on here. But for some reason that they painted it as Mike wrote this song, which I feel like is kind of like a low blow to his intelligence because he has written songs for the show and they have been in the episodes. So I'm like, they could have just used a monkey song, like for realsies. Yeah. Oh my gosh, my mom is leaving. Goodbye, mother. I've missed you. I hope you have a good time. You can feel free to check out the stream after it's uploaded because, I will have this will be a VOD after I'm completed. So if you really, really want to watch it again, you know, yeah. Love you, mom. Hearts. Hearts for you. Yeah. Send my mom a nice send off, chat. I think that'd be awesome. Anyway, going back to it, Mike has written songs for the show. He also wrote Mary Mary, which is also in this episode during like their little romp around the little romp around the set. So it's like, you know, I'm like, they could have just used Mary Mary. Like, he first off, he wrote that song. Second off, it's a good song. Third, I don't have a third one, but you get what I mean. They didn't have to make up a fake song for him to write. If I don't understand what they don't get me wrong, I like "Gonna Buy Me a Dog." I think it's a really dumb song and it makes me laugh, but and it's just like, oh man, you know, it's one of those where I'm just like, could have just used Mary Mary Man. It was right there. Also, there's other songs he's written you could have used. We're 12 episodes in. We have songs. Like, it's just like it's proven they're a band. I don't know. It just annoys me. The episode itself is fine. Don't I don't actively hate it. It's just like that really annoys me. I think that kind of drags it down actually. The main fun part of this episode is that Mickey gets to pretend to be a hotshot producer, like guy in charge of the studio that they're at to, you know, that stuff. That's kind of the only fun part of the episode for me. I don't like seeing Mike depressed. Mike is pretty depressed at like the middle part of this episode because his song got scammed. So he's a little depressed, and I don't blame him. I don't know. I think it's going in all I see kinds of sorrow, but I guess it's more like towards the top half. I may rearrange these at the end of the stream if I decide. But, you know, I don't actively think it's a bad episode. I think just the circumstances around it, I'm just like, bro, you could have did so many things better. But yeah. Next we have One Man Shy. Or Peter and the Deputine. This episode has two titles. I think a lot of the episodes have two titles, but this is the one that actively has two titles. It's Peter falls for a girl, and the monkeys help her fight off a jealous suitor. First off, uh, bro, first off, Peter is in love episode. Round of applause for that. It's usually Davy. This time it's Peter, and that is awesome. We love it when Peter gets his flowers. Peter doesn't get his flowers enough as much as he really, really should, because he's a silly little guy, and I think he deserves love. And I think him falling in love with a debutante is very cute. They're very cute together. Her name is also Valerie, which is they didn't use I don't know if Valerie was written and produced at this point yet, but it's like they haven't the Monkees do have a song called Valerie, which I'm like that could have been nice to see here, but I don't know if it was made. On top of that though, this is the introduction of I'm a Believer. This is the episode it comes from. And it's like, wowza, I'm a Believer. It's like their song. It's like the number one song from them. Like that's the song everyone knows and everyone loves. Like I don't see many active people hating on I'm a Believer. Most people tend to like that song for a pretty good reason. It's a fun song. And this is where it debuts, and I think that's awesome. I think it like debuts in like a it debuts in like a little montage of Peter and Valerie just like, being cutesy with each other. And I think that's awesome because they do the and then I saw her face. you know. I like this episode. I think it's nice when I see Peter. yeah. I like when I see Peter having a good time. And yeah, Smash Mouth covered this song in Shrek. That's how most young people definitely know what this song is because Smash Mouth covered it. I think the song's also in Austin Powers, but I don't know how many young people watched Austin Powers. hmm So it's like, you know, it's a good song. I very much appreciate this song, and I think it's awesome. But I just like this episode in general because Peter getting the girl in the end is cute. Yeah, so I'm gonna put this in. I'm gonna put this in Gasharuni. Wait, no. I just kept thinking. I was like, I think I like this episode enough, or I think I'm gonna put it in S tier. I couldn't leave her even if I tried, which fits because of that lyrics from "I'm a Believer," which is like, yo. So yeah, we have a second S tier. Let's go. All right, now we have Dance Monkey Dance. and Speaking of, Peter goes from a win to a lose. Peter wins a free dance lesson at Ronaldo's Dance a Go Go that ends up being in a lifelong contract. Mickey and Mike fall victim to this as well, so it's up to Davy to free them from their lifelong contract. Yeah, so it's just like, wow. Oh my gosh. Hi. Oh my gosh, I just realized my aunt Kelly is in the chat. Hello, Kelly. Everyone say hi to my aunt. Yeah. And so thoughts on when my mom met Davy Jones. Oh yeah, that's a fun fact I probably should tell people. My mom has met Davy Jones when he was alive. And I tell people this because I think it's cool. Oh, yeah. And I think it's really cool where it's like he my mom and her friends have met Davy Jones at a hotel in Stevens Point, and they were on tour at the moment, and they were in Stevens Point, and my mom happened to be there with her friends for a square dancing competition. I think that's what she said. And basically, yeah, she they went up to his room and like knocked on the door and was like, and then he answered and they got his picture taken with, and it's in her yearbook. And I think that's really cool. I myself am deeply jealous. You know, I wish I was there, even though she was 14 at the time and I was not a thought. So I really wish she was there. Anyways, going back to it, Dance Monkey Dance. Rachel, to answer your question, it's a lifelong contract. I think I should mention this. The first dance lesson is free, but then you have to pay like 20 bucks per dance lesson. So that's why a lifelong contract plus 20 bucks each lesson is kind of bad. You know, because if you're not actively making money, or like you are, but you have not a whole lot of money, that's not fantastic. Yeah, that's why it's a scam. It's like they're just getting money from these poor people, and they're always targeting like old ladies. It's like the way you win the free dance lesson is like, who is the eighth president of the United States? I'm gonna let chat answer that question. Do you guys know who the eighth president of the United States is? Type it in chat if you know, because I feel like that's one thing where I don't know how easy it is to get that answer, is the thing. Yes, Alex, you're correct. It is Martin Van Buren. So that was the caveat. It's like Martin Van Buren, you had to answer that. Which I'm like, I don't know how many like people know that. He's not a very like famous president where people just know. But I knew who Martin Van Buren was. I probably would have got scammed for my free dance lesson at the Ronaldo's Disco a Go Go. And yeah, and Rachel, yeah, that is $200 per lesson. That's a lot of money. You can so Mickey and Mike attempt to go in to break Peter's contract, but they end up signing their own contracts in the process. So Davy, as the Brit who does not know who Martin Van Buren is, gets to go in. He goes in undercover basically. He's like, I'm here to be a dance instructor, and then he dance instructs, and then he's in the in group now. He's like, which comes from this quote that I wrote down from this episode. We have the lady who's convincing the other poorer saps that money isn't everything. And then it cuts back to Ronaldo saying, money is everything. It's a pretty fun cut, actually. Um, another, this is our first racism moment. Oh no. During the dance break to I'll Be Back Upon My Feet, um, they're doing like different types of cultured dances, and like most of them I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense. I kind of see what they're going for, but then they're in like full like Native American garb at the end, not like full, but they got like the feather on the hat. They have the feather on like the headband and things like that, which honestly kind of happens a lot. Is all like, and they're trying to do a rain dance, and it's like, whoopsie, they did a racism. But like again, it's one of those things where it's like it's the '60s, where I'm like, that's not an excuse. I'm just like, yeah, they do a racism, but it's not a very long racism. There's like a couple episodes where it's a really long racism, but you know, so that's cool. They're not, yeah, it's like, yeah, I don't think that tears down this episode too much for me. I think it's like, I mean, like, yeah, I think if it was the whole episode, which some of these episodes are the whole episode, where it's like, ugh, you know, but that doesn't tear down like the whole thing for me. Because I think at that point people didn't really understand like the struggles of Native American um culture, what they went through at that time. So I don't think it was as well known as it is today. So I don't want to give them a huge pass, which I'm not. I swear. I'm holding them accountable. That's why it's not going in the top 2 tiers at all. I think it's gonna go in. I think it's gonna go in. Hey, hey, it's okay, because the episode itself is fine. It's just like that end of the song that's like E. It's not. It's something you can easily kind of look over and like take it out of the major picture of it all. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with. Other than that, the episode's fun. I like the episode a lot. I think it's silly. Like, I can't believe the guys got scammed into dancing forever. I also like the ending where after they foiled Ronaldo's plans, the four of them go up and it's like, we're here for a dance lesson. He's like, no, what are you guys doing here? Well, we're here, we're under contract, it's legally binding. Stuff like that. See, that's why it's like there's some fun moments in it. Yeah. Next episode, Too Many Girls, aka Davy and Fern. A tea room owner tells that Davy will fall in love within 24 hours or leave the group. She does this so he can help launch her daughter, her Fern, into stardom. So yeah, bro really is taking advantage of Davy's ability to fall in love with every girl he like breathes in the same direction with. Where so it's like wowza. So I think at the beginning of the episode, the pad is infiltrated by women and it's causing Davy to be very, very distracted. Like he does not focus whatsoever when there's women around, let alone like a group of women. Bro is just like in La La Land. His head is in the clouds. He is not doing anything smart whatsoever. He's like he barely can speak. It's like kind of bad. So the guys are like, "Hey, we're keeping you to this oath. Stop hanging out. Stop like womening. Wait, that's not a word. Stop falling in love with every girl you see, basically." So they go to this tea room, and it's like they look at the leaves, and it's like, "Hey, Davey's gonna fall in love with this woman in 24 hours, or he'll leave the group." And that's kind of what happens. But the guys are like, "Wait, we need him back. We can't just let him leave." So they try very hard to sabotage his whole like dance number with this girl. And this girl isn't very nice to him. It's more of like a she's really really just trying to get into stardom because I wouldn't say he's famous, but he definitely is like it's more well known than this woman is. Um, this is a very silly fun fact about this episode is that this episode has a censored version because in one of the scenes when Fern is trying to seduce Davy, basically, she is in like this like ivy bikini, basically, and her cleavage is a little too prominent, and TV did not like that. So there's it was censored due to be too risque, and basically there's sometimes it still gets into syndication, but like most of it's edited out. Like they either like change the camera shots or they like blur it somehow. They crop it. I don't know how they do it. It's just like, oh, wow, that's silly. Or it's just like, oh, you know, it's a fun time. Yeah. This episode is fine. Like I said, not too many things with this episode. I I think the censoring of the cleavage is funny, at least now. Yeah, crop her chin up is probably what they did. I don't know. Yeah, really awkwardly. I don't know how they did it. I had to rewatch the episode. I haven't watched it in a hot second, but it's like I really think that's what they did. They must have cropped it strangely, but they edited it so to make it less risque. Yeah. Son of a gypsy, we're going into the you must be joking because woohoo, racism. Meow. Guys, this episode's racist. You want to know why? Because gypsy is a term for the Romani people, and the Romani people are have this really bad stereotype that they're evil and crooked and they want to steal things. And this is what this episode does. Is yeah, so oh, when the monkeys are chosen to perform at a party, they are trapped and forced to steal the Maltese vulture, or Peter dies. Oh no! So yeah, the Romani people are this band of Romani people are just like, hey, you are going to steal this thing for us so we can get away with it, or your friend will die. That is literally like what they're here for, and it's like bleh. Like I said, I'm sure it was acceptable in the 60s because, there was a lot of things that happened where it's like, nowadays, but racism was a lot more common back then. A lot more like pronounced, I guess. And most people didn't really bat too much of an eye at it. It was just like, but yeah. So the Romani people, um, definitely have gotten the short end of the stick for the longest period of time. And it's only up until recently where they're like, yeah, they're people too. you know. Yeah, so this episode's in the racism. Oh no, that's why it's in You Must Be Joking. It's a racism. You. Boo. Yeah. The case of the missing monkey is next. Let's swiftly move past that. Okay. Um, case of the missing monkey. Peter gets kidnapped and in a plot against a rocket scientist. Oh no! Poor Peter. He's getting the short end of the stick these couple episodes where, or, yeah, Peter gets kidnapped by a doctor who's trying to like make a rocket scientist like give him like the codes to like this thing against the government, I think. And the other three have to be like, hey, let's stop him. Yeah. Yeah, it's another kidnapping plot. They like to reuse their plots, but this time they weren't actively attempting to get kidnapped. They accidentally got kidnapped. Well, only Peter did. Everyone else was fine. They had to save him. It's just like it's a different kidnapping plot, I guess. It's a little bit different. And so we have our monkeys. A fun thing I wrote about this, Mickey almost dies because the part of the plot is like, hey, we're going to have this guy get like dissected, basically. And Mickey is like the poser for this, so he almost dies because his organs are fine. He does not he's not knocked out. He is not needing to get his organs replaced, so he might die. So that's a fun thing. That's very fun. Uh, I'm putting this one in. Hey, hey, it's okay. Yeah, because it is just okay. I think on a rewatch I might move it. I haven't watched it in a hot second, but I might do a rewatch of this one specifically to see if it is just okay, you know? Yeah. I was a teenage monster. The monkeys are lured into a lab and get their musical abilities stolen by a Frankenstein monster. This is a fun episode. I think this one also aired around like Halloween, so that's why it's very much very fun. Where it's like, oh, it's in the spirit of Halloween, where because Frankenstein, he's made by a mad scientist. He's, Frankenstein's monster was made by a scientist, Dr. Victor Frankenstein, but I don't think that he actually says he's Frankenstein. He's just basically Frankenstein. And so the monkeys are like here. They're like, hey, we have a gig here. And they're like, okay, cool. And then stay the night. And then they all one by one get like trapped in this lab and their musical abilities are stolen into this this Frankenstein monster. And I think that's kind of fun. And then they have to try and get their abilities back. This one, yeah. I'm putting this one in Gasharoonie. I like this episode a lot. I watch it a lot on Halloween, like that specific time, because it's a fun time. I'm just like, yeah. It's like it's so cute. Well, I would say it's cute, but like it's a fun little romp. The only thing I have against it is that your Aunt Griselda is in this episode, and that song is I don't like that song, but like that's not necessarily the episode's fault. It's more of a personal matter. So yeah. Um, we have find the monkeys, aka the audition. A TV producer is scouting young bands to audition with his new show. Oh, but not the monkeys. I but the guy is trying to find. Uh, I must have. This is a horrible sentence I wrote. Oh. A TV producer is scouting young bands to audition for his new show, but not the monkeys. The guys try to find him as he attempts to find a mystery group that sent in a song. Spoiler for the episode: the monkeys sent in their song "Mary Mary," which is a good choice, mind you. That was a good choice, and they sent in they sent in that song and were like we're without like knowing what it was for. I think they just kind of sent it in and basically this guy this producer guy really likes the song. It's like that's the band. I need this band. And and it's literally the show. Like it's literally like them trying to get on the show in the universe. Also, they're in front of the NBC logo, which the show aired on NBC, which I think is cool. They really said, "Hey, go in front of the NBC logo and look at it." It's a pretty good image. Good imagery right there. Um yeah, yippee yahoo with that one. And yeah, it's kind of fun. It's one of those plots where it's like the producer guy just to miss the monkeys. They go like whoop. They keep missing each other until like the end of the episode, obviously, when they finally like find him and he finally finds them. And then yay. I don't entirely remember how it ends. I think it's something like, oh yeah, you guys are the band, but it's like I don't know, something probably happens where it's like they can't be the band, something probably happens. I know Peter gets hay fever and seasickness by just imagining it this episode because he had a hiccup, so they were trying to get rid of those and it didn't work. Yeah, it's all right. Like I said, it's an okay episode. I think it's fun that it's based off of like the show a little bit, which is kind of fun, kind of meta, where it's like, yeah, it's just based off the show. That's what's going on. Monkeys in the ring. Also, we're hitting a new page. Woo! A new page of notes. Monkeys in the ring. A crooked fight promoter convinces Davey that he should be that he could be the featherweight champ. So he starts fixing his fights. Bro, I don't think featherweight is a. I'm not one for like boxing. I don't know too much about it. I don't think featherweight is an actual like tier of boxing. I'm pretty sure it's made for the show. Also, the idea of Davey being a featherweight champion is funny. He's like, bro, you're not strong enough to be a lightweight. You're you don't got that. You have to be a featherweight. Big stretch. Big stretch. If you haven't stretched in a while, it's a good chance to stretch, you know. Stretching is cool. Alex thinks it is. I'm gonna take Alex's word on that. I don't really know. But he's gonna be the featherweight champion, and all the guys are like, "You're going to not do well." They don't have much faith in him because one of my favorite lines from the whole show is in this episode. Oh, um, it is. I was born in the slums. I had to fight my way out of the areas. And then Mike says, "Davey, you were raised in a residential area." Yeah, that's one of my favorite like little exchanges. Bro really saying like he was born in the slums, and Mike is like, no, cap, actually. Yeah. Okay, so after considering Google that it is real, that is awesome. The featherweight is a thing. I thought they just made it for the show. Now I know. Yeah, Monkeys in the Rain is fun. I think seeing Davey attempt to fight is fun. Um, I think the idea that they like rig his fights because he can't fight is silly. Also, there is a one of the other major characters in this episode is a African American man, which this was came out in like the 60s, so it's like, whoa. I think that's one thing I definitely have like after researching, they're not racist to African American people specifically because of um yeah, they're not racist to them specifically. It's every other minority race that they are. But African American people, they're active like in big crowds. There's actively some in the background. There's sometimes they get like speaking roles like this one, and it's like I think that's really cool. You know, I don't know if it was just because of the times and how they were changing, or if that was a producer decision, but I think it's cool. You know. Anyway, Monkeys in the Ring. It's going Gasharuni. I like this episode. I like seeing them fight. Yeah, I like the idea of them fighting and then attempting to be like, "Hey, Davey, your fights are rigged." Actually, you're actually not a great fighter. Next episode is actually another Davey episode. It is The Prince and the Paupers, which is a play on The Prince and the Pauper. Davy meets his double, Prince Ludlow of Peruvia, and he takes his place so he can marry before his 18th birthday. Basically, the fun thing I love about this episode is that Davy is pretending to not have Riz. His whole character up to this point is that he can Riz up all the ladies. And, like, everywhere he turns, he falls in love with a woman. So it's like, it's really funny that his double has no Riz whatsoever. Prince Ludlow has no Riz, but he's just like so cute. He's just like he respects women. He just doesn't know how to talk to them. And that's honestly kind of cute. It's like, way. It's he's all like, well, I don't know how to talk to women that well, and Davy's like, I know how to talk to women. I'll help you get a wife. Because there's just like this one woman in particular that he really wants to marry, but he doesn't want to talk to her. And like, yes, yes, every show in the 60s does kind of have this. I think it was a new technology, or at least like it was a fun technology at the time where it was like, hey, you act in this one and you act in the separate film, and then we'll splice them together. You know? Oh, it's one of those things. This happens actually a few episodes later with Nikki as well. And so I just think it's funny that they just did it twice. You know? But I don't know. Also, evil Cal Myron is here and he's trying to kill Ludlow. Oh no, it's another royal assassination. Take a drink for the royal assassination attempt. Man, we just love our royal assassination attempts, don't we? And Honestly, he kind of just yeah, it's a cute episode. Prince Lilo and the woman marry, and that's cute. Davy is happy. He doesn't. I think he's sad that he couldn't get the woman because it's him. But I think he's honestly kind of happy that his double did. you know. I see. I like this episode. It's going after Rooney. I very fun episode. I also like the split screening of it all because I don't think it was horrible. Mm, well, yeah, there are a lot of assassinations in the 60s. Yeah, there was. there were that's true. I can't even argue with that one. That one's true. Yay. Now we're at Monkeys at the Circus. Woo! Monkeys at the circus. The monkeys visit the big top and discover that it is suffering on low attendance. Yeah, so this is a circus episode. Fun fact about this episode, it was based off of Mickey's old acting show. He used to act in the show in the 50s called Circus Boy, and I think that's what they based his episode on. He like makes a bunch of references to it in the episode as well. So that's kind of cute. Where he's just all like, "Yep, this one is for me." Davy almost dies in this episode because he gets knives thrown at him multiple times, and they almost hit him a lot. I'm surprised they haven't hit him yet because it would be one of those things where it's all like, you know. yeah. Woo. I think it's an okay episode. Yeah, I think it's an okay episode. I don't have a lot to say on it. I noticed that a couple things, but like nothing that's really noteworthy that I would remember for a long period of time, you know? That's all I got, honestly. um, Next episode, we have Captain Crocodile. The monkeys go up against a kid show who won't let them perform. you know, don't you hate when you're invited onto a show and they just said, "Nuh, you're actually not performing. You're here to be like you're here to be the comic relief so everyone can laugh at you. But we were hired you so you could perform." Don't you hate when that happens? Yeah. This episode's kind of fun. It's very much like a whole first off, a kid is running the whole show, which I think is funny. There's a lot of 60s TV show parodies in this episode. Like Batman is parodied, Whose Line is parodied, or at least like the 60s version of Whose Line. To Tell the Truth is parodied. Yeah, I think those are the three. It's like those shows were very popular at the time, so they were parodied in the show, in the Monkees, and that's cool. We love that. Yeah. Also, this episode debuts my favorite Monkey song, Valerie. That is my favorite Monkey song, and I think it's very because it's all like, hey, we're gonna start performing, and that's the song they decide to do. And I remember watching this episode for the first time. I'm like, I really like this song. Yeah, and yeah, so I was like, Yahoo Yippee when I heard this song. And I think that's why I kept coming back to this one episode in particular a lot. That's also kind of why I grew to like it. I was like, Valerie's in this episode. Also, the setup is so good for like it. Because Davy is lead on Valerie. And he like slowly inches towards like the camera as he's singing the song. And it's like, wow, he's talking to me. I bet if I was my age today, if I was my age in the 60s, I probably would definitely attempt. you I would try. I'd shoot my shot. I don't know if it'd work, but I'd shoot my shot. That's for sure. But yeah, that's good. I like how the kids actively attack the monkeys. They're like, you, grr. Evil show producer, evil show guy is like, no, this is my show. You can't be on my show. And then they eventually get on the show, and it's nice. I'm putting this one Dang it again. I did it again. We're gonna go into Gasharuni. I like Gasharuni. So, see, the tiers are starting to become a little more balanced. You know, we still got a little bit to go, but sometimes it just do be like that, where it's like, sometimes you just have like a stretch of episodes that are just so mid, but you just go through. Yeah. Anyway, Monkeys on a Mode. The Monkees are chosen as Chic Magazine's typical young Americans of the year, but they are very misrepresented. Um, this episode's, I don't really like this episode. It's like fine, I guess. Also, Bald Davy's in this episode. He wears a bald cap and it's very pronounced and it makes me scared. Bald Davy isn't real. Bald Davy can't hurt me. But yeah, I don't have a lot to say about this episode. I think that's also where I feel kinds of sorrow comes in, where I don't have a lot to say about it as well. Where I'm like, I can't defend it nor say it's really bad. You know, it's just like it's the episode. It's an episode of the Monkees, that's for sure. Couldn't tell you what else. Peter draws a cow in this episode. And he shows it off, and it's silly. I like the cow. That's all I remember about the episode, besides like Davy goes bald at one point. I don't know much about this episode. I'll be real. I did not pay close attention to it. You know, yeah. But an episode I did pay a lot of attention to is Alias Mickey Dolenz. Woo! Alias Mickey Dolenz. I love this episode. Mickey goes undercover as a mob boss that he has a striking resemblance to. As you can see in the photo, Mickey and his alter babyface Morales are like they're yeah, as you can tell, they're basically the same person. It's the same thing that happened with Davy and Prince Ludlow up in here, where they filmed them separately and spliced the footage to make it look like they're in the same room. And you know, it's like wowza. I love this episode. First off, I think Mickey being a mobster is a funny concept. This episode is also just 90% Mickey Dolenz. Like, Mike and Peter are there, but they're not there till like the second half of the episode. And then Davy's just not in this episode. So it's like, it's very much just like, this is Mickey's episode. It's literally in the title that it's his episode. He has to be here. If he's not here, like, it's not gonna, yeah, it doesn't make any sense, bro. But I also am actively writing a fanfic based on this episode, so that's also probably why I like it so much. Is like, because I'm writing like the sequel episode where Babyface gets out of jail and he's like, I'm gonna kill the Monkees. And guess what? There's one he doesn't know about, and that's Davy. Because Davy's just not in this episode. So he's all like, I'm gonna target that guy. That's kind of what the fix about. I haven't posted it yet, but it'll be on AO3 at some point. Yeah. Anyway, Alias Mickey Dolenz is going up to I couldn't leave her even if I tried. And I've tried. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah. Blah. All right, next page. Woo! Oh, we have Monkey's Chow Mein. The monkeys stumble on a devious plot at a local Chinese restaurant. Hey, fun fact about this episode. Yellowface. Oh no, it's another racism. It's kind of going, you must be joking, right? Racism. The bad part about this episode is that there's some fun moments. Like, Mike and Davy as the monkey men are fun, and I like them. They do psychological warfare at people. And it's awesome. But it's in the racism episode. That makes me sad. I don't like that it's in the racism episode. They could did it in a different episode. How sad. They did not need to make this like in a Chinese restaurant with yellow face. People, we do not need that. We didn't need that. They could have been in any restaurant. They could have been like in a diner. Like an American diner. There you go, buddy. I gotcha. I fixed the episode. Same plot. The plot itself is fine. Some moments in the episode are good. I hate that it's a racism because I like the episode. I probably would really like the episode if it wasn't racist. Arnar. Yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about it. It's another episode of racism, but it has some fun moments. That makes me sad because, you know, fun moments were in any other episode, it would have been fine. Yeah. Now we have Monkey Mother. Her A new tenant named Millie Rudnick moves in, and the monkey set her up with the delivery driver. Yeah, this is basically if the monkeys had a parental figure in their lives. The episode. Yeah, this is honestly kind of a sweet episode. Like, they don't actively hate her. They're just like, we want to be free. We want to live our own way. We we are adults, but we do appreciate you doing all the chores and taking care of us. We're actively like, and they're like, we want to make you happy. So they're trying to set her up with Larry, their delivery driver, where Larry, the delivery driver, he's a silly guy and, you know, perfect rendition. I think I just like the idea that the monkeys had a parental figure for at least one episode. That's nice. They fired their, according to chat, they fired their manager, which was probably the second parental figure that they probably would have had. And yeah. Um so Monkey Mother. Woo! Monkey Mother is probably going in Gasharuni. I really, really like I like this episode, but not enough to put it in. I couldn't leave her. I tried. It's silly. It's nice. They sing sometime in the morning, and that's a very sweet song for a singing to a woman. And I think that's nice. It's a very sweet song. Monkeys on the Line is next. This one is like, hey, imagine you worked an answering service, but the monkeys took it way too seriously. That's kind of the plot of this episode. Is just the monkeys join an answering service and break the one rule: don't get involved with the clients. They, in fact, get involved with the clients. Yeah, Mike and Mickey tried to stop a girl from killing herself, except she's not actually killing herself. She's acting. She's like an actress. And she was meta acting, where she called the answering service and was like, I am. She's saying all her lines and stuff the into the answering service. And Mike and Mickey were like, no, You know, which I think is a crazy concept because, like, I I'm thinking about this from like the logical perspective, where it's like, if someone were to do that today, that would not fly whatsoever. I think like the guys on the other end would have to contact a lot of other sources, and then this woman would be visited by a bunch of other sources. It's very much like, oh no. But I'm like, it's the 60s. She was just method acting and she wasn't considering, but it was just like, oh boy, you could have fooled me. you know, she would. Um, Davy accidentally sets a riot to like a house. Oops. Hate when that happens. I think he got a call where it's like, you got to come here. Stuff, trouble. Anyway, so he goes there. Yeah, and he goes and he's like, "Oh, hi," and then he causes a riot. Oops. Peter has the funniest one where he accidentally botches like a bank robbery. So the mobsters come to said answering service and take over the place. Good job, Peter. Oh, this episode's very chaotic. There's so much happens in 22 minutes of this one episode, which usually usually that's kind of the regular vibe of a Monkees episode, is just like things happen in 22 minutes and it's kind of all over the place. But this one is particularly just like, what am I watching? It's like, what am I unfolding? Yeah, I agree, Alex. I don't blame the monkeys for trying to stop a girl from killing herself. It's just like, I think that's crazy about thinking about in today's age, you know? So monkeys on the line, I think I like it for the chaos, so I'm gonna give it a gosharoonie. Like, I think I mainly like it for the chaos. Like, there's just so much that happens. I also like the idea that they care enough about me to, not if I were to say, hey, I'm gonna kill myself, they would attempt to stop me, which is nice. I like that thought, you know? Yippee! Anyways, on to a less depressing subject. Monkeys get out more dirt. All four monkeys fall in love with the same girl and completely change their personalities. The girl in question is Julie Newmar, aka Catwoman. And so that was a fun surprise. I I think that's awesome. Like Catwoman is like, vibing. Not eh, she's not causing any crime. She's just vibing at a laundromat and all the monkeys think she's really, really, really hot and they all want to date her. Yeah, so so while Batman is Batman's trying to help Gotham from terrorizing figures. Catwoman's laying undercover as April Conquest and falling in love with all the monkeys across the coast, which I think is kind of fun. Because, like I said, I think Batman and the monkeys were actively like time slot competing. Batman was on ABC, Monkeys was on NBC. So they were actively time slot competing. And since this was the 60s, you can DVR things. You had to pick which one you were going to watch. And so it was like, it's really interesting for Julie Newmar to be on a episode of The Monkees while the active competition of Batman is happening. It would be really funny if the day this aired, a Batman episode with Catwoman was happening at the same time. Like, which Julie Newmar are you going to watch today? Which one? I don't know, man. I'm smart, I swear. Like, I just like I just thought it was really cool that Julie Newmar is here, and she is just gets to be hot, and she gets to be silly, and she gets to have a good time with the monkeys. They all changed their personalities to be more soft and sensitive for her because they, or at least attempt to be soft and sensitive. I don't know how well it goes over. The laundromat is crazy all the time. I think she said in the episode that her character is studying like a doctorate in like laundry. I don't think that's kind of crazy. Is a doctorate in laundry, you know, something like that. I like this purely for Julie Newmar being here. That's why it's going in Gosharoni because it's purely for Julie Newmar. I think she's awesome. I'm happy she's here. Um, it's definitely one of those things where I'm just like, wowza, you know, it's a good time and I'm happy for it. Yeah. Um, Episode 30. We're 30 episodes in, guys. Look at the tier list. We're getting close to only 2 rows left. For 30 out of 58 episodes, we're over halfway at this point. So, Monkeys Manhattan style. Oh, the monkeys travel to New York to meet a producer, but needs more funding. So the monkeys stall at the hotel for time. Basically, like the producer guy is like, "Hey, I'm going to he needs to go to his backer because he's running out of money. And he's like, well, I can't produce this thing without more money. So what he does is he goes to his backer. But while there, the monkeys have to stall the hotel, basically. This is, fun fact, this is the first episode I've ever saw of the Monkees. It was on, and my mom was like, you want to watch the Monkees? And I was like, okay, cool. Never heard of it. She's like, you watched Big Time Rush, right? And I'm like, yes. And she was she was like, "Hey, you should watch the Monkees. Just see how it is. See how." And now we're here. Thanks, Mom. I don't know if she's in the chat anymore, but thanks, Mom. You've made me like very much hyper fixated on the silly show from the '60s. Thank you, Mom. Appreciate it. Yeah. Anyways, going through, but now that I think about it, not a super memorable episode. I definitely it was cool from the beginning where I was like, yeah, it's an episode, all right. It's going on. I see all kinds of sorrow, you know, and it's like it's the episode of all time. I can tell you that much. I appreciate that was the first ever episode I watched. I couldn't tell you what happens in it besides they're in New York and they're stalling for time, basically. Yeah. New page. Woo. We're almost to the end of season one. We have two episodes left of season one. And the rest of them are season two. So that's fun. Monkeys at the movies. After being after being asked to be extras in a beach movie, the monkeys push out the main star and have Davy replace him. Um, yeah, so this is a fun little beach episode because they live in Malibu. They can have fun little beach episodes. So yeah, it's basically it's kind of like a love letter slash parody of like summertime beach movies of the time, where they have a lot of like tropes from those era movies and that go on in this, and you know, it's a fun time. I love their outfits. They all have really good beach outfits. I myself would love to see like would love to recreate some of their looks. Honestly, I might consider doing that. There's a lot of shirt like things that they wear where it's like I kind of want to recreate that. I think it'd be fun. Or like what or like how would I like make a modern version of this, you know? Or like how to make it like retro? I don't know. Hmm. Excuse me. Yeah. Monkeys at the movies. I like that they're while hyping up Davy, Peter and Mike hold up like an original Davy Jones album titled David Jones, where he where it was recorded before he was on in the Monkees, so it's very retro. It's all like wowza, you know. It's very much just like whoa, boom, awesome. Yeah. And they were like, I'll trade you Beatles albums for this. I'll trade you Bob Dylan for this. I'll trade you the Lovely Spoonful for this. And I'm like, whoa, shout to the Lovely Spoonful, guys. Did not know they were going to get referenced in the Monkees, but they were. Cool. Yeah. Boom. Why do we, we're booming. Awesome. Rachel, I love your enthusiasm for I love your enthusiasm for this tier list at the moment. Yeah. It's very much just all like, woo, we're doing great things today. Monkeys in the movies is going in Gasharoonie. It's a fun time. I want their I want their beach outfits. I think it'd be really silly to wear their beach outfits. Yeah, and then Monkeys on Tour. This episode is technically not like a scripted episode. It is the Monkeys are the real subs on tour. That is the whole description of the episode. So it's basically like 22 minutes of them being like themselves on tour, which like you can see their real authentic selves. And I think that's really cool because I think like the show is obviously dramatized for it's obviously dramatized. Like it'd be crazy if it wasn't dramatized. But you know, it's loosely based off of their lives. Like not the plots obviously, but like the characters are loosely based off of themselves. So seeing them like in their real authentic selves is really cool. The one note that I remember watching from this is Davy almost fights a goose. He would definitely lose if he fought a goose. I don't know why he almost fights a goose. It must have bothered him or something. And the goose was just like, meh, you know, at him. But he almost fights a goose. That's a fun time. That's the one part I remember about this tour, besides them performing all their songs, which I can list all their I can list all the songs. I wrote them all down. All the songs in this episode are The Girl I Knew Somewhere, Last Train to Clarksville, Sweet Young Thing, Mary Mary, Cripple Creek, You Can't Judge a Book by Looking at the Cover, I Want to Be Free, I Got a Woman, I Am Not Your Stepping Stone, and I'm a Believer. It's a lot of songs. I think it's the most songs in an episode. So that's fun. And yeah, the tour for themselves, it's a nice little break, from the chaos, which sometimes you need a break from the chaos. I'm gonna put this in, I couldn't leave her if I tried. I think it's just really important to have like if we're showing like they're a real band, so just to show them like, hey, they're real. They're real, and this is what they act like. They're silly and goofy. Not as silly and goofy as on the show, but like in real life they're silly and goofy. And also, here's a concert of them. That's awesome. We love seeing concerts. All right, before I head on to season 2, I'm noticing my battery is getting low. So I am going to go quickly grab my charger, so my computer doesn't die in the middle of the stream. That would be awesome. You guys can look beautifully at this tier list. This is my season 1 tier list. I don't know how many of you guys have seen episodes of the Monkees, but if you disagree, let me know. you know. So I am gonna go quickly grab my charger. I will be back. Keep yapping in the comments if you so desire. Alrighty, I am back. Ugh, got hair in my face. Oh, Rachel, I'm sorry. I didn't start you on an S tier episode. I'm sorry I started you on a B tier episode. I'm so sorry. I don't know. If you come up again, I will definitely show you an S tier episode. Just, yeah. Because, like, S tier is awesome. I'm sorry I did not show you an S tier episode. My bad. I have seen them all. Yes. Hmm. I don't know. I asked you what title looks the most interesting, and you picked that one. You picked Your Friendly Neighborhood Kidnappers. That's the one we started on, you know. So, yeah. All right, jumping into season 2, guys. We have 26 more episodes to go. We're going pretty good. How's everyone doing in the stream? Are we entertained? Are we not entertained? Are we just here for vibes, listening to my lovely voice ramble? You know, woohoo! A lot of fun things happening here. I hope we're entertained. I'm gonna take a nice long drink of my Sprite. So, and if you have a drinky drink, I highly recommend you drink it as well because stay hydrated or eat food if you're eating food. So, eat some food. Alrighty. Now, well, you finished a whole class while listening to this? That's awesome, Alex. I'm so happy I could be your background noise as as you finished a class. I love that. Yeah. Also, we are at 8 viewers. Woo! Let's go. Oh, oh, love that. Oh, Rachel was working on a craft project. That's cool. What you making, Rachel? Is it like I know you crochet. Is it like a I'm not what you making? Ooh, flower embroidery. That's fun. I think that could be I think that looks awesome. I think it's gonna turn out great. You know, embroidery is pretty cool. So, yeah, on to season 2. We have a nice place to visit. This is the first episode of season 2, and we are in Mexico. Yay. While in Mexico, Davy falls for a girlfriend of a local desperado. So, you know, off to a fantastic start. You know, it's just all like, hey, this man here, you know how she has a very dangerous boyfriend? Davy don't care. He's gonna fall for her anyway. So that's what he did. And I'm like, no, man. Ooh. The thread is currently as tangled as the chaos of the plots of these episodes. That's nice. That's a good way to put it, I'd say. Yeah, so basically Mickey, Mike, and Peter have to dress up like they have to dress up as like people from Mexico, basically. Is there brown face in this episode? Probably. I don't. Sometimes I can't tell because of the lighting. It's like I think there's probably brown face at some point in this episode. I couldn't tell ya. Niley's writing a paper. That's cool. I hope it goes well. Yeah, but I'm so that's not awesome. Brown face isn't awesome. Don't love that. Um, yeah, but I don't know. It also has the bit where Peter and Davy, it's all like, so Davy is kidnapped and tied to a tree because of course he is, and he basically what he does is all like, oh please, please don't hurt me to Peter, the Peter guy who comes. It's like Davy, it's me. Me who? Peter. Peter who? Peter Towak. Oh, Peter, Davy. Peter, Davy. It's a fun little scene. Also, Davy also unties himself to show Peter how to untie him. That's pretty fun. Yeah. Uh, yeah, but we had a little brown face in this episode. That's not awesome, I'd say. And I feel like the way they portray Mexico is a little scary. Like, not great. I don't hate the episode though. That's the problem. It's like, yeah, it's racist, but I'm like, I don't hate the episode. It's kind of like the same situation as Dance Monkey Dance, where it's like, yeah. I think I'm gonna put this in I See All Kinds of Sorrow because, like, yeah, it's racist. I can't click this box. It's racist, but there's like some pretty strong moments in here. Is the thing that I'm like, it kind of like starts to outweigh the racism, but not as much where I could be like, this is a good episode because, you know, racism. You want to know a not racist episode? The picture three. The picture frame isn't racist. I know this. Mickey, Mike, and Davy rob a bank thinking they were filming a movie, and Peter has to prove their innocence. Alex, which title was it? The A Nice Place to Visit or the Picture Frame? Is a reference to the Twilight Zone. Because I'm not entirely sure which one you were talking about. Uh, yeah, fine. Going through it, the picture frame is a fun episode. The There's a very funny interrogation scene where they're all just like they take things way too literally. Where it's like, oh, we're gonna throw the book at you, and then they catch a book, boink. Um, oh, we got the book. Oh, it's overdue, type of thing. Oh, a nice place to visit. That's a Twilight Zone episode about death. Maybe it is a coincidence. I don't know. The Twilight Zone was airing during this time, so it could have been a reference. I'm not entirely sure though. I'd have to do more research on that. But yeah, uh, there's it's a really fun interrogation scene where it's like, oh yes, three, or it's like, throw the book at them. Oh, it's overdue, type of thing. It's just like they just take things so literally, and it's like it's pretty good. The picture frame's a fun episode. Also, Peter has to lawyer up, which is fun. Peter is in charge of proving their innocence, which I think is fun. Peter's like, how innocent are these three doofuses? Because they are awesome, but they actively robbed a bank because they were under the influence of thinking it was a movie and these were actors, and all that money was fake money. Oops, whoops. This is a fun episode. I'm putting in Gasha Rooney. I need to watch more of it. I don't watch it as much as some of the other ones, but I'm just like, this episode's really fun. I think it's just like, yeah, yeah. It's like it's a fun little mob tale. Except, like it's a fun little mob tale, but also like a episode where things happen and as well. But I like it. I like it a lot. New page. All right. Everywhere is a chic. When a princess chooses to marry Davy via a catalog, he either has to go along with it or be killed. Oh no! Don't you hate when you have to marry someone or else die? Oh no! Yeah, I think this is the episode where Mickey fully debuts his beautiful curly locks because, fun fact about the monkeys, they had to straighten their hair, especially Mickey's, where it was too curly and they didn't like the look of it. So they were trying to make it more Beatles in season one. So they straightened all their hair out, even if it was fairly straight to begin with. And but Mickey's had like this big poof of curls. You can kind of see in some of the plots here. You can kind of see it in some of the episodes where it's like he had like these curls that were very big, very luscious. And it's like very great. And it's like, oh my gosh, he looks so good with these on. But they had to straighten his hair for the entirety of season one and parts of season two. And it's just all like, nah, but I like curly haired Mickey. He looks so good. Like, you can't tell me he doesn't rock the hair. So I was really mad when I got to season two, when I saw his hair for the first time. Like, no, we could have had this the whole time. I was really mad. I was like, oh dang. Everywhere She's a Chic is a fine episode. They try to actively kill them. Again, this happens a lot, actually. they act, I'm surprised the monkeys don't have like lawyers, but then again, they probably can't afford them. So that's why Peter was the lawyer last episode. They can't afford any, so it's just like what to do as well. So they probably would have like a Secret Service team in IRL if they could afford them, and all this was still happening to them because you know, that would be unfortunate if they couldn't, you know, be alive. So a chic is a chic. Everyone is a chic. A chic is probably going in, hey, it's okay. Like, I don't hate the episode. It's nothing too memorable about it, though. It's another one where it's like, guys, don't die. Royal power, They have a lot of those episodes, actually, where it's just like royal power and, like, um, they try not to die. That happens a lot, actually. Next up, we have Monkey Mayor. Mike runs for mayor in an attempt to keep their neighborhood from becoming a parking lot. Yeah, so evil, mean mayor is going to tear down like their residential neighborhood and become it a parking lot, including the monkey pad. And that's not okay. We gotta save the day. So Mike decides to run for mayor. He's low-key kind of good at it, but then everyone's trying to sabotage him. And like the monkeys are a decent team of political people, like trying to get everything in order. But they don't win in the end, which I think is interesting. It's a surprisingly fun political drama where it's like they don't win in the end, but they expose the guy for like making a parking lot basically. And he's all like, so he obviously is like, I'm not going to turn your places into a parking lot so he can win the election type of thing. It's surprisingly like more in depth in comparison to some of these other episodes where I'm just sitting here and I'm like, what is going on? And type of thing. And it's like, it's surprisingly more in depth. And it's a fun political drama. If I want to get, this is the most political I get, I feel, is I watch this episode and I'm like, whoa, politics, that's crazy. Um, Evil politician trying to make a parking lot. Oh no. And with that, I'm officially out of Sprite. Okay, that's fun. But yeah, Monkey Mayor's fun. I like Monkey Mayor. I'm putting Gosharuni. See, look, Gosharuni and Hey Hey It's Okay have the same number now. We are roughly at the same amount with those ones. So hey, it's a little more balanced now. I'm gonna scoot this down a little so I can have access to the boxes. Um, yeah. Next we have Art for Monkey's Sake. Since Peter is good at copying art, crooked museum guards force him to recreate an art for them to steal. So basically, the monkeys have to go in, rob the museum before the actual robbers rob the museum, and then catch them robbing the museum. That is their plan. I don't think it's very smart, but that is their plan they went with. And yeah, Peter's surprisingly good at art, which that's a fun little development to have. But like, yeah, I paint things. And I'm like, that's awesome, Peter. I'm proud of you. Yeah. One of the things that really make me think, one of the one that really gets me going is their little code names they have for each other. I wrote them down because they're really dumb. We have Manchester Marauder for Davy, Connecticut Counter Spy for Peter, Towering Texan for Mike, and then we have Los Angeles Leopard for Mickey. That's where they're all from, so I think that's kind of fun. And then they gave them little alliteration names, and I'm like, those are fun code names. Next time I do a political, like not political, if I do a spy mission, I'm going to make a alliteration sounding name of where I'm from, which I think would be fun. I think everyone should do that. If you're ever on a spy mission, you should. If you're ever on a spy mission, just like make a name that it alliterates of where you're from. Just expose yourself like that. So have fun with that. That's fun. Also, this is the debut of Daydream Believer, which is another really popular Monkey song. Which I think it's kind of funny that two of their most popular songs both have Believer in their titles. I think that's kind of funny. Where it's just like, wowza, you really Daydream Believer and I'm a Believer are both like their number one songs. And that made them a lot of money. Because Daydream Believer is also referenced a lot because it's a good song. So a lot of people put it referential like a lot of places. So it's like, wowza, you know. I know that song. It's from the Monkees. I think the one I remember is in WandaVision. It's in one of the episodes of WandaVision when they're in like the 60s, 70s timeline. And I think it's in WandaVision. That's where I think most recently where it's from. Yeah, I don't know. Daydream Believer is a good song. I like it. Next episode. Oh, I forgot to rank it. Hang on. I gotta figure that out quickly. Art for Monkey's Sake. Art for Monkey's Sake is going to probably go in Gosharuni. I like this episode. I like their dumb names. And I like that they're attempting to steal art so that the crooks don't steal art. Good plan, guys. Next we have I Was a 99-pound weakling. When Mickey's girlfriend dumps him for a guy named Bulk because he's strong, He considers pawning his drums for Sean Chu's Weaklings Anonymous, and Peter and Davy try to prove he's a phony. Yeah, Mickey is the victim this episode of being scammed. It's another. The Monkees get scammed a lot as I go through these episodes. They're not very smart. They don't realize that they're getting scammed half the time until it's too late, and then they fight back against the scammer. But it's like Mickey is actively like, and Mickey isn't that like weak. They really play up their weakness in this show because they're always like every time they like punch someone, it's like a little like it's not a full on like brah. They always play up like how weak they are. They never like really just go into be like, yep, I'm strong. Which they're not horrible like weakling people. They're pretty strong. They just play it up for the camera. And this episode proves that because they were telling me like Mickey couldn't like fight back against someone. No, I disagree. I, I definitely disagree. Um, I think the reason I really like this episode is that Peter and Davy team up, and I don't know, I like their dynamic. I think it's fun. As mentioned from earlier, I like when they team up because it's fun. I think their personalities is a fun little mix. You know, we gotta we gotta save our boy from being scammed, basically, and that's what they do. It's nice. Other than that, it's an alright episode. Like I said, not a very memorable. It's not super memorable, but it's not bad. Like I said, Peter and Davy's team up is fun. We like that. Yeah. Next up is Hillbilly Honeymoon. Natalie is ready for this episode. Get ready, guys. The Monkees get caught up in the Chubber Westcott feud, leading Davy to almost marry Ella Mae Chubber against his will. Like I said, this season they really like to make Davy almost marry people. This happened twice so far. He ends up getting trapped in various situations where he has to be with a woman. Oh no. But yeah, I like this episode. I think it's fun to see the Monkees completely out of their element, except Mike. Like, because Mike is from Texas, so he has said that he grew up in like somewhat of a similar area, and there's an episode later on the list where it's like, yeah, it's basically all about that. And Hillbilly Honeymoon is fun because is basically it's okay. Imagine you're someone walking into a out of the way like town the in like the South, because I'm pretty sure this is Texas where they said they are, and you go into this town. You're trying to find directions to who like a place. You're trying to find your way to like somewhere. And you go in, and next thing you know, you're in this hillbilly feud, and you can't escape until they marry, and you happen to be the one that they want to marry, and you can't leave until that happens. So that's why we're stuck here. We're in this situation now. And I think that's funny. It's just like, how did we get here? It's one of those episodes where it's just like, how did we get here? Who came up with this idea? This is insane. It's definitely one of those like, who came up with this because this is crazy type of ideas where it's like, you really said, hey, let's. It really said, like, hey, what are we doing here? But it's fun. I have a lot of fun times with it. I like that Mike plays the pig. No, Mickey plays the pig. Mike plays the nose. Davy poorly sings I Want to Be Free to try to be free. And, he doesn't do it particularly well because, it's the joke. And Peter's there too. Peter chills out. Peter is a vibe in this episode. He's just kind of adapting to situations around him. Yeah, Hillbilly Honeymoon is very much a Rooney episode. Every time I think about this episode, I smile. I think it's funny. I like the whole idea. The whole concept around this episode's funny to me. Yeah, Rooney tier. Woo! Monkeys Marooned is next. Flipping the page. We got a new page, guys. All right. Monkeys Maroon. Peter gives his guitar away for a treasure map, leading the monkeys on an adventure. The one thing I wrote down for this is comically large net. Because that's the one thing I remember about this episode is that they're trapped in a comically large net. It's huge. Like when I think it's very much like the cartoony way of like you put a net on like the ground and then you like swoot it up. Like yeah, it's like it goes like whoop, and it is up there. It is um trapped. You're trapped in this comically large net for one person, let alone four people. That's why it's really huge, because all four of the monkeys get trapped in this comically large net at the same time. So, it makes me laugh every time I look at it because I'm like, how did you get trapped in here? They're the monkeys get themselves in these situations a lot where they're just like, oh, but we're in a comically large net now. Oop. And yeah. I think Davy did a George Washington bit, which is funny because he's British. um, that's not the side you think about, sir. You think about the other side. And so he ends up, he does his little George Washington bit and they all call him out on it because he's British. you know. Yeah, they hold cats in this episode. I remember that. There's a really cute picture of them holding animals. And I'm like, ah, all those animals are probably dead. That's sad. That's sad to think. Well, I just dampened the mood. I'm so sorry, guys. I just was thinking about it because, like, they're young animals in that picture, and this is the 60s. So, you know, sad. And, yeah, there's a lot of things that I, like, remember, but the plot itself is kind of hard to remember. Besides, like, Peter selling his guitar for a map. That's literally what happens, is that yeah. This episode doesn't have a lot of plot to it. I think they eventually get to the island. They eventually get to the island, and these other guys. I'm sorry, I made you guys cry. No, I'm sorry, I made you guys cry. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it like that, guys. I'm sorry. you know, um, it's it's one of those things where it's just like it happened. It's an episode that happened. You know, so I think it's one of those things where it's going in, hey, hey, it's okay. Comically large net definitely gets it out of I see all kinds of sorrow. Otherwise, I probably would just put it there. But comically large net makes me laugh. So it's gonna be right there. Also cats. There's animals in this episode. That's cute. Card carrying red shoes is next. Natasha Pavlova, which I just realized her name is Pavlova, like the food. Um, so Natasha Pavlova escapes her ballet company and falls in love with Peter, or the face. That's Petrov. Petrov is his Russian name, apparently. Because microfilm is hidden in her red shoes. Yep, it's another spy episode, baby. It's another like Russian interrogating American life episode. Oh my god. Aw. Oh my gosh, Rachel has to highlight. I have to highlight this comment. For much as she says that she loves these shows, she does not hold back from all kinds of sorrow. That is true. Like there's sometimes there are things I can't forgive, and it's crazy. Natalie says, "Tell us, do I do an exam right now?" If you really want to, if I'm not going to distract you at all, then go ahead. I won't stop you. I can't stop you. So that's fun. But yeah, back to the card carrying red shoes. It's another someone falls in love with Peter episode, which they specifically highlight in the episode. It's like Davy's like, "What is this? Chopped liver?" When he's talking about like his face, and Peter says, "It can't be you every week, Davy," which I'm like, that's so real. That's so like out of pocket for Peter to say. I know the monkeys like they do this meta thing. They have a lot of meta jokes in the show. They like kind of I wouldn't say they invented meta humor, but like their show definitely like pioneered meta humor in a way. So it's just like I don't know, man. It's like I think I like this episode mainly because it has that weird urgency of danger like this other spy episode did, but I think they did it so much better than the spy who came in from the pool because I don't know. I like that it's like not specifically said to be spies. I think it's just like, hey, the Russians have want the microfilm. I think they specifically said they're from Russia this time, and it's like, hey, we're gonna be dancing in this ballet, but I have microfilm in my shoes, but I don't know this, and I have to keep wearing the shoes. Like these people keep telling her, hey, you have to keep wearing these shoes. You can't get rid of these shoes. And then, she escapes with said shoes on. So, uh-oh. And it's just like, wowza. It's kind of crazy to think, again, like we talked about this earlier with the other spy episode. This is the Cold War as well. So Russia was still trying everything in their power to, you know, yeet America off of like whatever thing. So it's still crazy to think like we have another episode in season 2 that is just this, but with ballet dancers. But I think this episode's more successful. I like it more than the other spy episode. So it's going in Gasharuni. Yahoo yippee with that one. It's just so good. I like it. Yeah. Oh. Next we have the Wild Monkees. The monkeys try to impress a group of female bikers until their boyfriends show up and challenge them to a race. Fun fact about the monkeys, they can't ride motorcycles, except they can. Like, I think like they actively have ridden motorcycles. Mike especially knows how to ride a motorcycle. He just has one. So in like IRL, he just has one. And basically their whole thing is like we're going to be bikers, and then they change their personalities once again, but then when the actual bikers show up they have to live up to it, and they're like, oh, we did not think this far ahead. They call themselves the chickens, which I think is funny because they're scared. That's the joke. Yeah. The only thing I wrote down for this episode is that they look good in leather. You can tell what time I wrote this at. I wrote these notes very late at night, like the second half of like season 2. I ended up writing these notes pretty late at night, so I was just like, some of the comments I wrote are gonna be silly, to say the least. Yeah, but Wild Monkeys is fine. It's hey, it's okay. I I think it's crazy, but also, things happen. Stuff like that happens. It's good. Um, yeah, and now we're at to a coffin too frequent. The monkeys find a sinister family holding a séance at their pad. Yeah, so basically, we went from like a biker episode into a we're holding a séance at our house. Please leave our house. So the monkeys just kind of wake up at like they're going to bed, and then they realize there's a whole family in their living room. And they're like, hey, what are you doing here? We live here. And they're just like, well, we're holding a seance for our dead relative to bring him back from the dead, and there's nothing you can do about it. They attempt to kick them out, but I think eventually they're just like, okay, we kind of want to see how this goes. So they let them do it. Fun fact about this episode, this is a bottle episode, which, if you don't know what that is, it's basically an episode of a TV show where it takes place in one location, the whole episode. And this one, it takes place in the pad. They don't leave the pad. They they don't leave the pad. They don't like cut to other. They might cut to other places in the pad, but it's still like the same location. And this is a bottle episode. I don't know if they just decided not to do sets today, but they were just like, yeah, it's we're doing it the entirety in the pad. Yeah. I think it's a fine episode. I think a seance is fun. That's a fun little new thing to do. And yeah, it's going in Hey Hey, It's Okay. Yeah. Speaking of not Hey Hey, It's Okay, we got Hidden High Seas, pirate episode. I love this episode. Taking jobs as sailors, the monkeys discover that the captain is a pirate and plans on to hijack the Queen Anne. Yeah, so this is a pirate episode. The monkeys really need work, and so they're like, okay, we'll take jobs as sailors, and they're on this boat. Everything's normal, and then they were like, hey, wait a second, this guy wants to like actually hijack the Queen Anne, like for realsies, like not like a bit. He wants to actively hijack the Queen Anne. And the guys are like, maybe we should do something about that. They try to stage a mutiny, which I remember watching this episode, and I specifically texted Natalie. I was like, hey, Natalie, did they describe a mutiny correctly? And then she went on like this whole thing about a mutiny, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds right. you know? So that was a fun little exchange between me and my roommate. Yeah. Davy Jones's locker is mentioned because Davy Jones and Davy Jones are two different people, in case you haven't noticed. There's Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean and sea legends in general, where he is this pirate, and if you die, you go to his locker and spend the. It's basically like pirate hell, I think, from what I've gathered. And basically, you chill out there and you die a painful death. And Davy Jones, that I know of, is from the Monkees, who is a British guy who plays the maracas and tambourine and sings. Two very different people. On my Tawadachi Life Island, actually, I have the both of them. I hope they become friends. I think that'd be fun. And yeah. Then we have, because we have, I think it's mentioned, it's actually kind of important because Davy Jones is mentioned. They're like, this guy is Davy Jones, and the pirate, because he's a pirate, he's like, Davy Jones? Oh my gosh. You have to be like my cabin boy because you are Davy Jones. I have good luck on the ship. I don't know, something like that. And it's like crazy hey to think about. So it is referenced that Davy Jones got successful and not them successfully killed on the first day because of his name. And I think, isn't going to Davy Jones' locker a euphemism for drowning, like going to the ocean floor? Probably. I don't know much about pirates. So I'm like, I guess that's true. I'm gonna go with you. I don't know too much about your Davy Jones. This Davy Jones I know plenty about, but like that one, no, I don't know too much about him. But yeah, Hidden the High Seas is fun. We get a fun little sword. We get a fun little sword battle. Like Mickey tries to stage a mutiny, fails miserably. They almost walk the plank, and then they stage pirate attack, and they fight, and it's cool and fun, and we love it. you know. And it's going up into If I Couldn't Leave Her If I Tried. It's the first episode in season 2 on here, actually. I don't think it'll be the last, though. I'm looking at the remaining episodes. I don't think it'll be the last. So, that's cool. Yeah. Huh. But Hitting the High Seas is a fun episode. I love it. yeah. Next page. Well, we're getting there, guys. Where I've said a lot. I've said a lot of things. Yay. Um, Monkees in Texas is the next episode. While visiting Mike's family in Texas, the ranch is ambushed by Black Bart and his gang. Yeah, we're in Texas now. They must have had a semi budget because they keep going to various places. First they were in Mexico, now they're in Texas. They're going to Vegas next episode. And they're just like they're going everywhere. They got so many places to be that we're just like, yeah. It's awesome. Woohoo. Yeah, so we have Monkees in Texas. Mike is in his element here because he's back in Texas. And it's a little ranch in Texas. So it's like, wowza. Uh, Uh, yeah. Oh, Rachel's leaving. Everyone say bye to Rachel. Give Rachel a nice send off. She has to go, but that's okay. That's fine. You can remember you can watch the rest of the stream once it becomes a VOD. It will probably become a VOD later today. So if you really want to know how this ends, that's how. But yeah. Anyways, going back to it, we have Monkeys in Texas. Mickey and Peter, Peter is back to wearing Native American garb, cool. And Mickey and Peter tried to infiltrate Black Bart and his gang. They fail miserably, and Davy is forced to hang out with a horse. This is the majority of the episode. Like the majority of the episode, the people say like he's the stable boy. He gets to hang out with the horse, and he gets to do cool horse tricks. Like he rides a horse backwards while standing on it because he can do that because he's a jockey. So yeah. So awesome. Oh, thank you, Alex. Yes. And it's very much just like he gets to do cool horse tricks this episode while everyone else is like trying not to die. It turns out that the Nesmith Ranch has oil. That's why everyone wants to rampage it. And then they eventually stop Black Bart. Wahaha. They did it. Good job, guys. Yeah. Monkeys in Texas is fun. It's in Gosh Ruining Tier. I like that episode. Yeah. Monkeys at the Wheel. This is the Vegas episode. They go to Vegas for some reason. I don't know why they're in Vegas. They just kind of are. Um, Mickey gets a hot streak going in Vegas, not knowing that the tables are rigged. The police need them to go undercover to get the money back. Cause like it's a Cause like the mobsters of Vegas, I've already rigged the tables for them, and the police are trying to get them. But the monkeys infantry with their plan. So now the mobsters and the police are after them. So they have to go in and like they just have to go in and be like, guys, we're really heckin' cool mobsters, and we are going to win. Basically, Magic Fingers Mickey is what they call him because his fingers are magical. Another fun exchange from Peter and Davy is in this episode. Peter says, "You must be joking," which is Davy's catchphrase. And Davy says, "That's my line." He's like, "Oh, sorry." And then he says, "You must be joking." Bro, that's a fun one. It's a silly odd time, you know. So yeah, we have monkeys on the wheel. They're on the wheel, all right. I think it's a fine episode. I don't think it's a great episode. I don't think it's like a fantastic episode, but I don't think it's a horrible episode. It's a fun time. I like seeing them in a new location, aka Vegas. So, um, yes and no. Mike is more the guitar person of bass. Peter plays like the piano synthesizer, but he can also play guitar. He can play a variety of things. So I guess he could be a bassist if they need another bass on the album. But he that's more of like Mike's category, I'd say. Yeah. Next up, we have the Christmas episode, the Christmas show. The monkeys have to teach a neglected little boy about the true meaning of Christmas. Aw, doesn't that warm your heart? Um, it's a pretty standard Christmas episode. It's like the true meaning of Christmas is from inside you, you know, and you don't have to be a Scrooge on Christmas because this kid actively says bug, humbug, and everyone's like, oh, no. and, but the one thing I want to point out is that the Monkees, in the show, instead of covering like variety of Christmas songs, which they do, they covered like the basic ones. They also cover Ryu Chiu, which is a traditional Spanish like Christmas song that hasn't been. Uh, it's like it's a traditional Christmas song from Spanish speaking countries. It's like I don't know if it's specifically Mexico, but definitely Spain, where And like it's not like actively sang a lot, but the Monkees chose to cover it, which I think is really cool, honestly. Because like yeah, they sing like other various Christmas songs, but like they don't they don't they actively choose to sing this one. And I think that's crazy to think about because you don't know. This is like what 1967 at this point, 1968 almost, where it's like it's the 60s. You don't really think about that stuff a whole lot. So I'm just like, you think most people would probably just sing like the traditional Christmas songs or, oh, those are the ones that get airtime. But no, they sing a traditional Spanish speaking Christmas song. And they don't even like make it in English. They sing it in Spanish and it's a cappella even too. And I'm like, wow, they really tried on this one. It's called Ryu Chiu. Look it up after the stream if you really, really want to hear them. Or look at the Monkees in general after the stream. They have some banger songs. I love them. Yeah. So the Christmas show, I think it's fine. It's like I said, it's a very standard Christmas episode. Christmas good. True meaning of Christmas is the friends made along the way type of thing. So what's going in? Hey, hey, it's okay. Christmas is the mean Christmas is meaningless and you're neglected. That's kind of what this kid feels like, honestly. That's kind of true for this child. Yeah. Okay, so next we have Fairy Tale, which is a this episode is crazy. So, in a play made starring the Monkees, it's an episode of the Monkees, but they're also playing characters that aren't themselves. They're basically on a play, and Peter the peasant has to save Princess Gwen, Mike, from the dragon with the help of Mike the cobbler, Davy the tailor, and Mickey the innkeeper. It's basically like a parody of fairy tales, and they're all in fairy tale garb. There's a lot of cross dressing in this episode, and it's great. Mike portraying Princess Gwen is iconic. She knows what's up and very much would be like, hey, we. She has this really nasally voice that everyone thinks is beautiful. It's awesome. like, and then Mickey and Davy also get in drag at other points as like Red Riding Hood, Goldilocks, those people as well. Peter surprisingly is not in drag in this episode. That's because Peter is the main character. Peter probably was a side character. He definitely would, but yeah, Peter has to go save Princess Gwen and be a knight and save the day. This episode is a fan favorite in the Monkees community because of how ridiculous it is. It's it's awesome. It's a 10 out of 10 episode, honestly. I love it. It's going straight into it. I couldn't leave her even if I tried. Yeah, it's awesome. It's if you like cracked fairy tale retellings, this is a pretty good one. If you like parroting fairy tales, it's also a good one to look at. It's a fun time, I would say. Uh, the next is monkeys watch their feet. When Mickey is abducted by aliens, Davy and Peter don't recognize this, and even though the aliens' feet are on backwards. Do we know a good place to watch the monkeys? At the moment, there isn't a fantastic way to watch them. What I did is like I got them. I found a download link and I downloaded all the episodes onto a flash drive. So that's how I watched them. Shush. Don't tell people. I think the a legal way for you to watch them is buying the DVD set, but the DVD set's a little pricey because it adds like a lot of other fun elements to it, like various specials. I think the movie Head is in there too. Behind the scenes stuff, commentary, stuff like that. So it's a little pricey, and if you don't have a DVD player, it's kind of pointless. There's not a really good way to stream it, which is kind of sad. I wish they was on streaming because then I could be like, hey, go stream it here. So you either need a DVD player or you need to find it in semi illegal ways. you know. yeah. Anyway, back to monkeys watch their feet. Um, woo. Mickey is just. First off, Mickey would be the one to get abducted by aliens, either him or Peter. That just makes sense to me. Where it's just like he gets abducted by aliens, and the aliens are like, "Okay, we're making basically a clone of you, but the alien feet don't fit your feet normally, so they have to be put on backwards. So his feet are on backwards for the majority of this episode. Davy and Peter are like, Mickey sounds fine. Mickey says this normally. He's a very much a he's very much like Mickey on crack is kind of what this episode is, where it's like he's just on crack and he's just like, woo, we are we're going through it, that's for sure. And it's a fun time. And then eventually Davy and Peter realize, hey, maybe Mickey's acting a little too on crack, and they realize, like, hey, wait a second, this is you're not our bud. And then they go to the alien spaceship and they cause chaos. Their song "Star Collector" is used this episode, which makes a lot of sense because haha, aliens. So yeah, it's an alright episode. I don't actively dislike it. I'm gonna put it in. Hey, hey, it's okay. It's good. I like it a lot, but like not enough to put in the other tiers. Woo! All right, guys, look how many episodes we have left. We have only a few left, so we're getting close to the end with us folks here. So get ready for that. That's for sure. The Monsters Monkey Mash is next. After Davy is put under a spell by vampires, the other monkeys attempt to free him, leading Mickey to turn to a wolfman, Peter into a mindless zombie, and Mike pretends to be a mummy. Yeah, this one actually kind of has a really sad fact to it, where Mickey predicts that he is going to be the last monkey standing, because he's telling Mike in like a scene where he's all like, "What if I lose you? I'll be the only monkey." And then he starts singing the theme song where it's just like himself, which is really sad to think about now because he is the only remaining monkey left. Because all Mike, Davy, and Peter are all in heaven, just you know Jay chillin'. They all died at various points. But Mickey is the only one that's actively still alive. He's actually touring, which is kind of cool. Which I'm like, that's awesome. I'd see him on tour. I think that'd be fun. But like, it's one of those things where it's just like, oh, that's so sad. He predicted his future without even trying. And it's just like, he said a silly joke, but he predicted the future because he's the last one living. Oh, he's the only monkey left. And that makes me sad. I'm gonna stop before I start crying. So basically, yeah. Uh, we have this where this is a fun episode. It's another monkey. It's another monster episode. The monster episodes are fun. I like them. But this is obviously kind of a stronger monster episode because there's more monsters. And, the chaos that ensues with everyone having their monster abilities is fun. I like to watch it around Halloween as well. I kind of like double back the I was a teenage monster and monsters monkey mash together because that's fun. Be all like, guys, I'm getting all my Halloweenness out. So that's going in. I couldn't leave her even if I tried. It's a banger episode. I do like it. It's fun, you know. Oh yeah. Woohoo! Next we have the monkey's paw, which is based off of the myth, the monkey's paw, which makes sense because duh. Like, it's right there. So, after getting a monkey paw, Mickey loses his voice and the others try to pawn it off someone to get their lead singer back. Yeah. Oh, hello. Hello, Mother. You're still here. Access TV played all the episodes of the monkey, and she's lucky enough to that her parents DVR'd every single one of those episodes. Yeah, that's how I originally watched the Monkees. I found it on Access TV, which I think is a music channel where they air like music related things, and they had a block of like old music shows, and the Monkees was in that block, so I ended up recording all the episodes, and I've watched all of them that way. But now I have other ways of watching it. So, but yeah, I do thank you guys for keeping it on the DVR for so long, and I could be like, yay. I don't know if Access is still actively airing the Monkees. I don't know if their timeshare was like expired, but I don't know. It's a good place to check if you have cable, I guess. Where, you know. Yeah, but going back to the monkey's paw, It's an episode based on like the folk tale of the monkey's paw, where it's like you wish for something, but like it's not like what you think it is. It's the bad part. It's like there's always like something tied to it. Like for example, like the at the end of the episode, the guy that they pawn it off to is like, I wish to be a millionaire, and then like he gets all this cash and stuff, but then like a few seconds later, the police are like, oh, we busted you for like robbing this place, and that's where all our counterfeit money went. You're going to jail, type of thing. It's like there's always like a negative twist to the monkey's paw. That's the whole point. Is like you got to be careful what you wish for. So that's what this whole episode is. Mickey didn't realize this. He wished for his voice to be gone. And because he wasn't singing good, I don't think. And then his voice actively is gone, where he can't speak at all. So that's a bit of a problem if you're a singer, you know. You- so they actively try to get the episode. They actively try to get. Yeah, it's a short story by W. Jacobs. That's cool. I don't know. I thought it was like a tale of some kind. That makes sense though. Yeah. And one thing I remember and I wrote down was that Davy insists that monkey is spelled like how the monkeys are spelled. So not like Monkey. He thinks monkey in general is spelled Monkee, which that's how the monkeys is spelled. But like I don't know. I just thought it was a funny little tidbit where he's like, "Oh, we're looking in the wrong spot for the monkey's paw." I thought monkey is spelled like that, you know, because he's in the band, obviously. It's like it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, yeah. So it's an all right episode. Like I said, not fantastic, but not sad. I like it. It's okay. You know, I'd watch it at some point. Yeah. But the next episode is The Devil and Peter Tork. Fun fact, guys, the devil exists in the Monkees universe. He just exists, which I think that's really funny. So basically, Peter signs his soul away to Mr. Zero, aka the devil, and the monkeys take him to court in hell. Yes, this is a real episode. I had to write that note down because it sounds like I'm making it up. Like someone said, like, hey, we are going to make an episode where Mickey Dolenz, not Mickey Dolenz, Peter Tork, he signs his soul away to the devil, and the other monkeys, we go down to court and we have a court case to get Peter's soul back in court hell, which I think is funny. You know, I don't know why. This is an episode. I definitely think this episode was written on some kind of substance because I'm like, do normal people at this point of the show were like, dude, they were just like, let's just do anything. We're not getting another season. Let's just do anything. So that's kind of what they did. They just like said, hey, we are going to make the craziest episode of all time, or at least one of them. There's another pretty crazy episode that we haven't talked about yet, where it's just like, guys, we are going to make them like, yeah. Yeah, I could have definitely improvised all these episode plots because they're all kind of insane. But these are the real episode titles. These are the real episodes, and this is the real episode plots. And it's just like things that happen. So Peter like plays the harp, and like there's this emotional moment towards like the end where it's like Mike is like, Peter, you can play the harp. And Peter's like, no, I can't. I sold my soul to the devil. And Mike is like, it's not the music comes from the heart. It's not from your soul. You can just play it. And then he does, and he plays a really sad rendition of I Want to Be Free on the harp. And I'm like, no, no. You know. I got a little sad when I heard that recently. Also, another a fun moment in this episode is that Davy asked the devil to put his hand and swear on the Bible, which I think is really funny. As a Catholic, that's pretty funny. You know, it's just all like, do you, it's like you know this book. It's on the best. It's on the bestsellers. It's been on the bestsellers list for centuries. Like that's awesome. Like I said, I didn't expect the devil to be real, let alone to make jokes about the Bible in this episode. That Devil and Peter Tork went straight up into S tier. Also, in the 60s, you couldn't say hell on TV, so they had to censor. They had to censor like hell, and it's very badly censored. You can clearly see them saying hell, and it's just like because they didn't have like the little blur sensor, so you didn't know like what they were saying. They were clearly saying hell, and it's like they were actively like enunciating hell too, which I think is really funny. So, which I'm like, that's a little difference between like 60s TV and today's TV. You can say hell on TV now. You couldn't say hell on TV in the 60s. That was just not allowed. Yeah. Woo. All right, on to another episode. We got like 6 episodes left, guys. Get excited. We're at the home stretch. We're almost there, and we are getting through it. We have the monkeys race again. What did I write for this episode? Tea and Crumpets, which I did not know was his name until I looked up these episode descriptions. Tea and Crumpets, a friend of Davy's grandfather, asks the monkeys to help him with his car. His rival, Baron von Klutz, sabotages Crumpets and has Davy race the monkey mobile against him. Like I said, these plots are insane. I couldn't make them up if I tried. Like there's so many things that happen. Also, naming your British character Tea and Crumpets is kind of funny. Let's be real. That's pretty silly. Like Tea and Crumpets. Like for realsies, that's the best you could come up with. It's pretty good. I was just like, whoa. Yeah. Yeah, Baron von Klutz is also very German, so it's very Britain versus Germany for this episode as well. And, you know, I guess Britain and Germany have a rivalry. I wasn't aware of this. I, I don't know if it's meant to be anything else, but Baron von Klutz is clearly German, and I think he has a German flag on his car. So yeah, I just like the idea of saying the monkey mobile versus the Klutz mobile because he also Baron von Klutz calls his car the Klutz mobile, while the monkey mobile is the monkey mobile. Also, I didn't know Davy could drive the car. That was a fun discovery watching this episode. I don't know if he has his license in America, but since he's a British citizen, it was okay. I don't understand how that worked. I couldn't tell you how that worked. I don't know if that's how that worked. It's an episode, that's for sure. I think I like the concept of this episode more than the how it plays out. So it's going and hey, it's okay. Cause I'm just like, it's okay. I think it's kind of funny that like I said, the concept of this episode's hilarious, but like the execution is all right. Not a horrible episode. Yeah. Um oh my gosh, I think we're on the final page of notes. We're almost there, guys. We're on the final page of notes. Um Monkeys in Paris. The monkeys walk off set and vacation in Paris. The monkeys just romp around Paris for 22 minutes. That's the episode. I don't think it's that entertaining because it's like it's not framed to be like an episode. It's just them running around in Paris to their songs in the background. And I'm like, that doesn't entice me. I just think I'm bored by it. So I'm going and I see all kinds of sorrow. So if you really want to watch run around Paris for 22 minutes, then you'll probably enjoy this episode. But I'm not one of those people. I'm like the concert one was different because it felt more real. This one was just them where it's just like, oh, they're in Paris. They're just running around Paris, just vibing. They're at the Eiffel Tower at some point. Girls are always with them, type of thing. Like I said, I don't know. I don't particularly like this episode too much, but it's not like looking at you must be joking tier. I don't think it's there. There's no racism in this episode. So it's just like boo hiss. Yeah. Then we have monkeys mind their manor. Davy inherits a manor, but has to stay there for 5 years. Instead of having it go to the Lord's Son, the Monkees raise money to give it out to the public. Because, Davy's a musician in America. He doesn't want to live in a manor for 5 years before he can sell it again. He wants it to go to the people. Because if it goes to the people, then it doesn't go to the evil landlord's son. You know, we don't want that. There's a lot of like medieval stuff. They're also in England, which is cool. So back on his home turf. I don't remember how he inherits the mansion. He just kind of does. I think the person was close to his grandfather and was all like, "Here, you can take it." And I'm like, yeah, I don't understand how he inherits the mansion, but he doesn't inherit it at the end of the episode. He gives it to the people, and that's fun. He is like, I don't want this. He very much is like, no, thank you. And yeah, so this episode's it's fine. It's back to hey, hey, it's okay. Like it's fine, you know. Some Like It Lukewarm is next. This is a Some Like It Hot reference. The Monkees enter a context where the host only allows mixed groups, so Davy dresses in drag. Yep, we have another episode where the Monkees dress in drag. Haven't seen one of those in a while, so we're back right before we end the show too. So it's just all like, here, one last hurrah. And it's Davy's look is iconic. I will be real. I want his look. It's so good. Like the striped dress, the collar, uh, the bob could be better, but like I have my own hair. I can fix that. And like the heels, bro is rocking it. And it's so good. Good. So I was very happy to know that he looks great in this dress specifically. Like, I don't know. I think it was fun that in the episode there was another group of women, basically like the women monkeys, basically. And the other girl was like, I have to dress as a dude, and I am tired of. But they dress her like a knight, which is strange. did they not? Did they not want to have the? Was it not as funny to dress the woman in male clothes as it is the men to dress in women's clothes? I guess. I don't know. They made her a knight for some reason, but they both snuck out and they both fell in love. So when I'm like, this is another like plot convenience of falling in love where I'm like, I'm not mad about it. Where I'm like, okay, that one kind of makes more sense. Where it's just like, you know, they can bond over the shared experience of of pretending to be in drag so their band can win. That's their shared bonding experience they have together. You know, I'm like them, they're gonna fall in love. And I think this is the last time Davy falls in love, so this might be the canon girlfriend of the Monkees. Hmm. I'm just yelling at the void here. It's been a long stream, man. I don't know how long I've been streaming for, but it's been a hot minute. Yeah. Anyways, Some Like It Lukewarm's a Gosh Rooney episode where it's just like Yahoo Yippee. I enjoy this one, and that's awesome. Yeah. Second to last episode is Monkeys Blow Their Minds. Peter turns into a psychic slave due to drinking spiked tea, ruining the Monkeys' chance at a gig. There's a couple of notable cameos in this episode. At the beginning, Frank Zappa and Mike Nesmith do a duet, but they play each other. So Mike is Frank Zappa and Frank is Mike. Like, yeah. Almost 3 hours? Feels like 3 hours, that's for sure. Luckily, I didn't have any plans today. So, but like, it's just yeah. Woohoo, yip, Yahoo, yippee. We got the. So, yeah, Frank Zappa and Mike Nesmith are friends, which I think is fun. Um, that's cool. And basically, this episode is strange. I wouldn't say it's a good strange, though. I'm just kind of confused by it. So it's very much going in I see all kinds of sorrow, because I don't particularly enjoy the strangeness, but I don't necessarily think that it's a good strangeness. Valerie's in this episode again, so that's always a highlight. We love that song. And it's like the completed version of Valerie, so it's like even better. So yeah. Also the penguin from Batman 1966 appears in the scene. The actor playing the penguin, he's in his full penguin garb besides like his penguin nose, the like prosthetic. He's here. I don't honestly know why he's here. He's not the bad guy, surprisingly. He just hangs he's just hanging out here. My guess is that their studio sets were close enough where they could just be like, I'm gonna go hang out over here. And then he walked in onto a scene and he's like, Yep, I'm here now. I don't honestly know why the Bat this is the second Batman character to show up in the Monkees. I wish Batman was canon in the Monkees. I want Bro, that would be a fun episode where it's like Batman and Robin have to interact with the Monkees and their crazy shenanigans. That would be kind of fun. Like, it's just because like these guys accidentally get themselves in trouble all the time. What if they have to be like, what if they have to be like, Batman, we need your help. This supervillain is kind of heckin' angry at us. So, like, we kind of need your help. Or like they're framed for like something and Batman's like in like Gotham. What if they go to Gotham City for a gig and then they get wrapped up in like the craziness of this? And I don't know. I'm surprised they didn't do it, but I understand why they didn't do it. I think it'd been fun. Anyways, the last episode is Mija Kagio, aka the Frodis Caper. It's the finale of the show, so it's gotta be hype, and it totally is. The evil wizard Glick uses the alien Frodos to take over the world, and it's up to the Monkees to stop him. Oh, gee, Willikers. Mickey directed this episode. I should probably inform that. Where so this is the last episode of the series. Frodo. I should probably explain what Frodis is. Frodis was their keyword for weed. So every time they mention Frodis in the show, they're just saying weed, and I think that's really funny. They start beef with the music meister. No, that's true. I want to write the fic now. That could be a fun little one shot, you know. Anyways, Frodis equals weed in this show. In the Monkees, they were like legalized weed, bro. It was the 60s and they were in the hippie and they were more in like the cooler hippie scene, so like, you know, they tend to like their weed, you know. So, I don't know. This episode definitely feels like they were written on like drugs. I'm sure they did other drugs. I couldn't tell you which ones, but like it wouldn't surprise me if they did other drugs. Um but this episode is insane. It feels like you're watching it high or like completely like in another region. Like it doesn't feel correct. But it's entertaining as all hell. I have a fun time with it. I think they eventually win. The Frodis prop is a football head, which I think is really funny. So it's like this green leafed creature and then a football head. That's the Frodis alien. And I don't know, man. It's a trip and a half. I'm happy this is the last episode. They go off on a bang, man. I had a great time with this. It's going in Gasha Rooney. Oh, not hey hey, it's okay. We're going in Gasha Rooney. Let me click. There we go. Yeah, it's going in Gasha Rooney. And that is the tier list, man. Like, let's take a second to look back at this. Like, we have a pretty heckin' awesome tier list, to say the least. Like, this tier list has survived 3 hours of me yapping to the void. Oh, we're good. We're good. And during said yapping, there's just like there's just so many things to look at. Like, I have laughed, I have cried, I have questioned life, I have done a lot of things. And yeah, I think just going off of like the tier list balance is like there's a lot of decent episodes of the Monkees. Like, I'd say like See All Kinds of Sorrow is kind of like the more boring, disjointed episodes. And then we have And then we have You Must Be Joking as just the racism episodes. So like we got those ones. But then like everything else is like watchable. Everything else is good. Oh, I'm sorry, Alex. I'm sorry. You have been interacting in the chat, and I do thank you for that. I apologize for calling you job liver. But it's just like, you know, just looking at it, like there's a lot going on here, and there's a lot of good episodes to choose from too. Because like I'd say I'd recommend any episode for first time watching in Gasha Rooney. Especially, I couldn't leave her if I even if I tried. Like that's for sure, Z's. He's yeah. So I'd recommend any of those episodes for like a starting point. I accidentally started Rachel on the kidnapping episode, and that's in Hey Hey It's Okay, but it's okay. Um, yeah, if you ever feel like watching the Monkees, it's a fun time. You might go crazy if you watch them all in a row, but it's a fun little adventure. Especially if you watch something like really heavy beforehand and you just need a brain break. That's what I do a lot with these episodes. Natalie can contest to this, where it's like we've been watching when I watch something that like breaks my brain, I'm like, I'm putting the Monkees on, and then I do. And it's awesome. But yeah. Anyways, um yeah, so that's the stream, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. If you are watching this as a VOD, thanks for watching. I hope this was a fun time for you and you learned a bit about the Monkees. Yeah, I had a fun time and I hope you had a fun time. So I'm gonna end the stream. So if feel free to like jump off, leave somewhere else, go somewhere else. That's fine. I am going to leave and I'm probably going to make food slash order food. I'm hungry. Anyways, that's all from me. Take a picture if you really want to know my opinions. But yeah, thank you. Bye, everybody. Goodbye. Goodbye. I 10